Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has ninjutsu, taijutsu and genjutsu. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Tartarun, link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Steel chimed off steel in a shower of sparks. Naruto came to his senses just as a shuriken cut into the tree he was standing on and scrambled away before he lost a limb. What was going on? And why didn't he sense it coming before? He landed on a branch on a tree nearby and subconsciously tried to apply chakra to stick to it. Instead he gained a new appreciation of exploding tags as the wood underneath his sandals exploded with the force of a small bomb as he was sent crashing down onto the forest floor. Okay, forest, he was in Konoha then. Nowhere else had the same Mokuton enhanced trees. Voices cut in his thinking time, loud and furious. You saw those eyes earlier, this were the eyes of a demon. What? Why did that voice sound so familiar? He hadn't heard that derogatory tone towards him for a while now. He pushed himself to his feet and crept towards the voices, all the time trying to be stealthy. It was harder than he thought, but he managed pretty well. A coppery scent was in the air, blood, he'd recognize that smell anywhere. Naruto isn't like that. Iruka-sensei. Naruto was completely baffled at this point. Oh, this must be a genjutsu to knock him off his senses. Funny, Kurama usually broke all the genjutsus put on him, speaking of which. Where was the troublesome fox? Hello? A deep rumbling growl reverberated through his stomach. Okay, he was in a bad mood, best to leave him, but that told Naruto it wasn't a genjutsu. B had told him, as long as a Jinchuriki could hear his biju and was friends with them, a genjutsu could not hold. He had tuned out to the explanation of why later on. Well, that doesn't really matter. I'll kill Naruto and get the scroll. I'll take care of you later. Oh, someone was trying to kill him. He tried hard to be surprised, he really did, but all he could feel was exasperation. He had other things to be worrying about than some wannabe assassin. If not genjutsu, then what? Tsukiyomi? He was sure he'd remember running across Itachi. Hold on, didn't he die? Where was his assassin anyway? He couldn't be very good if they hadn't noticed Naruto eavesdropping on them. Oh, where did Iruka-sensei go? Damn, his senses had deteriorated. Time for Naruto to be reckless. He fondly imagined Sakura's imaginary reaction and leapt off to where he could hear a taijutsu brawl. Damn, Iruka-sensei wasn't bad at taijutsu in his head. It was his new theory, he was hallucinating. Iruka ducked under Mabruki's punch before using his momentum against him to hurl him into a tree. Mabruki. Mizuki. Oh yeah, Mizuki. Mizuki retaliated by drawing kunai and the two chunin had brawled too fast for Naruto's straining eyes to follow. Then Mizuki leapt away after he started losing ground. Iruka quickly hinged into Naruto to his shock and started crashing around in the trees. Really? I thought Iruka-sensei thought of me like that. I didn't think I thought so badly of myself. Naruto sulked slightly. Then another Iruka burst through the trees and called to Iruka hinged as Naruto. Hurry. Pass me the scroll, Mizuki is after it. Iruka must be amused as hell, Naruto thought idly as hinged Iruka kicked fake Iruka so hard he created a small crater in a tree. Nice, sensei. Why, Naruto? How did you know I wasn't Iruka? Mizuki dropped his hinge. A foxy grin spread over hinged Iruka's face and he dropped it. I'm Iruka. Mizuki smirked in appreciation at the ploy. I see how you'd even transform into what killed your parents to protect him. His hallucination was eerily accurate and detailed, Naruto noticed with a frown. I won't hand the scroll over to an idiot like you. You're the idiot. Naruto and I are the same. Naruto hadn't realized how much of an idiot Mizuki was until that line and he had to work to suppress a snort. The same? Please. Iruka looked confused. The same? If you use the skills in that scroll, you can do whatever you want. Also not true, Naruto noted. There's no way that demon fox wouldn't try to use the power. Unlike what you're assuming, why would Kurama even need Kage Bunshin, Ito Tensei and other forbidden jutsu? He could cause tsunamis with a flick of his tail. Human jutsus are beneath me, he had told Naruto haughtily once. Yeah, wow, he thought Iruka-sensei thought that about Biju. He'd have to check after the war. The demon fox would do that. No, he really wouldn't. But Naruto is different. Wrong way around, sensei, it's Kurama who would use forbidden jutsu, him on the other hand. Forbidden wasn't a word in his dictionary. Because I've acknowledged him as one of my excellent students. He may not be the hardest worker and he's clumsy so nobody accepts him. Naruto was a bit indignant at that. They didn't accept him because of the Kyuubi, not because of his clumsiness. He already knows what it is to feel pain in your heart. He isn't the demon fox anymore. He never was the demon fox. He shivered imagining Kurama's reaction being mistaken for him. He is a member of the Hidden Leaf Village, Hasuzumaki Naruto. He felt the first sentimental tear come to his eye. Iruka was really sweet when he wasn't butchering facts. Mizuki gritted his teeth. Okay, whatever, Iruka, I said I would take care of you later, but I'm changing my mind. Hurry up and die. When had he interfered in the original happenings? Oh yeah now. He didn't feel like watching Iruka-sensei die in his head. He kicked Mizuki out of his path with a well-aimed kick Sasuke would be proud of. He saw Iruka's stunned expression from the corner of his eye and felt a little smug. You should not have done that, Mizuki snarled from where he lay. He shouldn't have done a lot of things, so he just shrugged off the comment. Don't touch Iruka-sensei or I'll kill you. He told the downed Mizuki calmly. It was his efficient delivery of the line that shocked the two Chunin. For a brief instant they saw the fourth ninja war reflected in his blue eyes, but the moment passed. You idiot. Why did you come out? Run away. Iruka yelled. Shut up. Punk like you, I'll kill in one shot. Mizuki laughed gleefully. Try it, trash. I'll return the pain 1,000 times over. Naruto thought about his next move. While spamming clones was fun, it didn't always get the job done. It was a hallucination anyway, who cared about graduation criteria? Mizuki smirked, then let me hold you on the same pedestal you do me. Naruto, prepare to die in front of your precious sensei. This hadn't happened last time. The hallucination wasn't drawing from his memories. But it felt so real. Mizuki pulled out several kunai and sent them whizzing towards Naruto. Kage kunai no jutsu. Iruka's eyes widened knowing the lethality of that jutsu, and he tried to move to protect Naruto with a groan. 100 kunai raced at Naruto, who felt his head clear of any distractions. He wove the seals quickly and efficiently. Power Imi. Thunk. The sound of 100 kunai hitting their target reached Iruka's ears. Naruto. He yelled in desperation. Mizuki's smirk froze as he toppled over like a broken marionette in front of Iruka, with his flak jacket peppered with bloody kunai. His glassy eyes stared back at Iruka's disbelievingly before a light flickered out. Iruka stared speechless. Kawarimi with a live being was difficult, especially at that distance. Naruto had now truly mastered both henge and kawarimi. It was a good plan too, he noted absent-mindedly in the ninja part of his brain, before his teacher part took over and started screaming about Naruto killing someone so early in his career. What if Naruto was jaded forever? What if he lost his smile? What if, sorry sensei, the Anbu won't be able to interrogate him now. Naruto looked sheepish as he scratched his head by Mizuki's corpse. On second thoughts Naruto would be fine. Iruka smiled. Naruto, come over here. There's something I want to give you. He closed his eyes trustingly. This was Iruka after all. He felt a cool piece of cloth slide over his forehead and he opened his eyes. Congratulations on graduating. Let's celebrate. I'll buy you a bowl of ramen. Iruka's scar crinkled as he smiled. But sensei still can't do a bunshin. Iruka tapped his nose. You don't need the bunshin to become a ninja. That plan you pulled off is worthy of a field promotion to genin, and anyway, there are more useful versions of bunshin you can pick up from your jonin sensei. Like Kage bunshin, Naruto thought slyly. He hugged his sensei around the ribs as hard as he could just because he hadn't been able to do it for a while before dragging Iruka back screaming about ramen. Now he had a good excuse to look for any irregularities in his hallucination. He was beginning to doubt it was one, he'd find out by the ramen flavor. No one could mimic Ichiraku's ramen. The next day he sat in front of his photographer with an incredibly fake smile, which became more teeth than smile as the photographer took his sweet time. The ramen had been perfect. His apartment had been perfect. Everything had been perfect. Every single book he checked made sense, every single person he talked to matched their personalities. It wasn't a hallucination. No hallucination was that accurate. He hadn't even known some of the stuff he found out, but since they fit in with his other knowledge, he assumed it was true and not his mind making things up. Hey, you sure you want to look like that? Yes. He hissed out of patience. Fine. Don't regret it. Okay, cheese. Click. Finally. The Hokage stared at his ninja registration. He looked up to stare at Naruto, who grinned cheekily back. There was a distinct questioning note to his silence now. Like it, Gigi? It took me forever to do it. It's unique. The Hokage allowed. Retake it. Why? Because it doesn't look a thing like you. That was the point. I'm never going to be a super awesome ninja if someone kills me before I get good. That way no one can know who I am. Naruto wailed. He was having fun trolling whatever and whoever was happening. You're meant to trust your own village. The Hokage puffed on his pipe dryly. How would your Jonin sensei know about you? Or any future captains? Look underneath the underneath. Naruto offered sheepishly. The Hokage smirked minutely at that. Well, you're thinking like a ninja at last, I suppose. The Hokage looked down at the picture. Stiff red hair framed a face which was pale white with no scars whatsoever. There was dark eyeliner around the gray eyes with a blue streak across the lips. It didn't look a thing like Naruto. Henge? Of course, Gigi. Why red hair? Uzumakis have red hair, Dadabayo. I thought I'd pay homage. Naruto's eyes twinkled mischievously. The Hokage stiffened slightly but let it go. He opened his mouth to say more, but then the door creaked open and a boy younger than Naruto burst in screaming. Old man. Fight me. He waved a steel shuriken before promptly tripping on his scarf and thankfully not landing on the weapon. A darkly dressed jonin burst into the room seconds later as the Hokage sighed and gazed upwards for patience. Damn it. Who set a trap? The boy cried, rubbing his head. Konohamaru, Naruto thought fondly. His apprentice and all but name. Wow, he was a brat at this age. Are you alright? And there isn't a trap anywhere. The jonin barked. Ibisu, Naruto thought it was. He wasn't so bad, he had tried to defend Naruto's location with his life once. He looked at the contempt veiled on Ibisu's face and inwardly sighed. Why couldn't the people have their after-pain invasion personalities? Why did they fit relative Timifram? His thoughts trailed off in horror. Time travel. I knew it. You did something. Konohamaru yelled at Naruto, who was too much in shock to hear him properly. How you say something? He blurted out on instinct. The Hokage and Ibisu sweat dropped. Kakashi's already influencing his future student without ever having met him, the Hokage thought dryly. Should he take this as they were meant to be teacher and student or ban Kakashi from reading porn around Naruto? You tripped me. Konohamaru shrieked in Naruto's face, who snapped out of it to glare back. Listen, idiot. If I wanted to trip you, there would be more of a humiliation involved on your part, understand? Don't talk to the Hokage's grandson like that. Ibisu yelled. Would Ibisu have been his teacher as people knew he was the fourth son? Naruto thought randomly. I'll talk to him how he deserves. Naruto shot back at Ibisu before flicking Konohamaru hard in the forehead and walking out. Later, when he was furiously discussing the possibilities of time travel in his head, he noticed Konohamaru following him incredibly obviously. He lived through a damn war, kind of, he had pretty good instincts by now. Thankfully they had transferred over, even if his ability to react to his instincts was lacking. If it was time travel, he wanted to make his first disciple inclined to be his disciple. You're not fooling anyone. What are you doing? He yelled at Konohamaru, his heart painting as he remembered how close the two of them had been. He impressive to see through this rumors about you are true. Konohamaru chuckled. He had rumors other than Demon Child. Hey, I let you be my boss. The kid looked like Naruto should be honored, but carried on nonetheless at Naruto's less than impressed look. In exchange, teach me the sexy no jutsu you defeated Grandpa with. Please. He hugged Naruto around the knees and unleashed the devastating puppy dog eyes no jutsu. Naruto smirked, recalling when he and Konohamaru had infiltrated so many kunoichi-infested locations with the same jutsu and how many perverts they had knocked out. Why not, kid? He led Konohamaru away, explaining the technique. Hold the image in your head. Remember, unlike a normal henge, this is a physical change. It takes more chakra than normal, but it is far more difficult to notice and dispel. Is it your own original jutsu, boss? Yup, it took me hours to adjust the normal henge. Why? I will get this down. Henge. Naruto blanched, going white. Dispel. Try again. Wrong. More slender. More beautiful. The training continued, each attempt marginally better than the last. By the way, why are you going after your grandpa so much? Naruto asked his student as they took a break, relaxing on a log. Konohamaru slumped and after a while began to talk. Grandpa gave me the name Konohamaru. I'm named after the village, but even though everyone is used to that name, nobody ever calls me that. When everyone sees me or calls me, all they see is the Hokage's grandson. Nobody sees me as me. I'm sick of that. That's why I want the Hokage name now. Naruto sighed. Idiot. Who'd acknowledge a punk like you? Huh? The Hokage title isn't so easy a brat can take it. Konohamaru balled his fists. What? It's not that easy, moron. Hokage, if you want the name that much, then kick my ass first. He grinned his trademark I never give up smile at Konohamaru and watched his eyes go wide then narrow. The voice cut in on the two boys. I have found you. Naruto turned to see Ibisu looming over them coolly on a tree branch. He gritted his teeth. One day those eyes would change, he vowed. From suspicion to camaraderie. Ibisu leapt down. Honorable grandson, it is time to leave. No. Take this. Sexy, no jutsu. It was perfect. That's all Naruto had to say about it as he smugly crowed in his head. Maybe he should become a jonin sensei. Teaching was so easy. Oh yeah, it didn't work on Ibisu. WWH, what a vulgar skill. I'm a gentleman, such a super low class skill will never work against me. If you hang out with the likes of him, you'll just turn stupid. Just do what I say. I'm your easiest shortcut to becoming a Hokage. Now let's go home. Nuo. Konohamaru yelled. Buas. You're lying. Naruto told Ibisu with a calm he did not feel. Blood rushed through his head as he spoke the words which still resonated with him. The title of Hokage is sacred. You don't get trained for it, you can't get trained for it. You have to think of the village as your most precious item and keep it close to your heart over and above everything else. You're only Hokage if people acknowledge you, not the other way around. You cannot be Hokage solely for the acknowledgement. There are no shortcuts. Both student and elite tutor turned to look at him. Was it his imagination or did Naruto see the tiniest glint of approval in Ibisu's eye? Stop lecturing me like you're someone important, Ba. You're not my boss anymore, from now on we are rivals. Konohamaru cried. He ripped his way to stand across from Naruto and both of their serious gazes locked. I'll be looking forward to it, Konohamaru. He turned to Ibisu. I do believe I heard a challenge. Ibisu cocked his head. I don't believe I issued one. It was such a low vulgar skill won't work against you. Konohamaru put a point in my column. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. For the first time since he time traveled he performed the jutsu. With 30 poofs of smoke 30 lounging Narutos appeared on the field surrounding Ibisu. The Hokage choked violently on his pipe as he watched the scenes from his ball. Naruto had never mentioned he picked up such a jutsu. Ibisu himself got eyes the size of dinner plates before he steeled himself. I am an elite tutor. He told Naruto coolly, I can take 30 of you and more. Nah, it'd look bad if I beat up a jonin on my first day. Naruto grinned foxily, sexy no jutsu 30 voices cried as 30 voluptuous blondes appeared cooing and hanging off Ibisu with strategically placed smoke. Ibisu stared and went shooting off with twin jets of blood from his nose. Naruto dispelled his clones laughing. It felt good to prank people. The Hokage hit his head against his desk, repeatedly ignoring the panicked calls of his Anbu. He just knew he was going to fall victim to that technique. Naruto steeled himself before pushing open the door and walking in. Chattering and noise hit his ears instantly and he took a deep breath. He had time traveled. Everyone was alive. And they were going to stay alive. He cast an eye over his classmates and fought the urge to cry like a baby. Everyone was so innocent. And chibified. He stepped inside hesitantly without his usual fanfare, dark thoughts swirling in his head about the future. Naruto, what the hell are you doing here? Only those who passed are supposed to be here. Hey, can't you see the forehead protector? Naruto flicked it with his thumb lips twitching. The boy gave him a dubious look, but a voice he hadn't heard for ages cut in. Hey, will you let me through? Sakura Master Medicafeeder of Sasori Slug Samonafin girl. He turned to face her trying to hide his mix of emotions, relief, welcome, grief and pride. Naruto. Move your ass. I want to sit on the other side of you. Sakura glared down at him. Naruto hid a wide grin at the familiar antics, but scrunched his eyebrows. Surely he didn't have the same seat. He just took one randomly to prevent the incident. He turned around slowly to see a dark-haired boy sitting in the corner seat. Sasuke Magnaku Sharingan wielder Defiator of Orochimaru Snake and Hawk Summon Avenger. Sasuke gave him an annoyed look noticing him watching. He really had a chance to do this again. His team would stay together this time. Now to please Sakura or Sasuke. Sakura took the matter out of his hands as she knocked him down in her eagerness to get to her Sasuke. Sasuke. Can I sit next to you? Sasuke ignored her steadfastly. Sakura took that as a yes. He was not jumping up to the desk this time. He stayed perfectly still in his seat where he could not go anywhere near Sasuke. It was not happening. He clutched at his seat until his fingers went white. Iruka walked in a while later. Few crisis averted. Beginning today, all of you are real ninjas but you are merely rookie genin. The hard part is just started. Now you will be assigned duties by the village. So today we will be creating the 3-man teams and each team will have a jonin sensei. You will follow that sensei's instructions as you complete the assigned duties. Iruka looked over them all face serious as if to impart to them this wasn't a joke. We tried to balance each team's strength. Team 7 will be together again, Naruto mused. This time around we really need more training from Kakashi. He loved that man to bits, but goddamn he wasn't much of a teacher. Maybe Sasuke wouldn't defect. He bit his lip, he had no idea what to do. He glanced sideways at his future teammates. Sakura looked to be deep in prayer, while Sasuke just looked exasperated at the world. Nothing changed, huh? Team 7. Haruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto. Sakura slumped over. Ichiha Sasuke. Then she perked right up, punching the air. Sasuke however closed his eyes, which Naruto translated as please kill me now. Should he keep up appearances or should he not? Hell, it was fun. Iruka sensei. Why does an awesome shinobi like me have to be on the same team as someone like him? Naruto leapt to his feet and pointed dramatically at Sasuke who just calmly ignored him. Iruka put his hands on his hips and barked back. Sasuke's results were the top of all 27 graduates and Naruto were dead last. It is to balance out the teams. Just don't get in my way, dead last. Sasuke scoffed from the side. Naruto glared at him, it didn't need much acting on his part. He fell back into his seat grumbling for the sake of it. Iruka narrowed his eyes, noticing Naruto had not responded to Sasuke's taunt. Maybe the Mizuki incident was finally making him mature. Okay, this afternoon, we'll introduce the Jonin sensei. Take a break. Naruto went red slightly as he remembered what he had done the first time around. Now he thought of Sakura as a sister, no way was he doing that again. Hey, want to eat lunch as a team? He offered. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at him and left without saying a word. Sakura followed him like a puppy, not even bothering to answer Naruto. He felt a pang of hurt. His teammates could at least answer him. He swallowed hard then left anyway. If they weren't going to eat with him, he could prepare for tomorrow. He stuffed a sandwich in his mind and he chewed as he ran to training ground 7 where it all began. He snuck cautiously in, just in case someone was using it. He crept in, ears straining but relaxed when he didn't see or hear anybody. He quickly pulled out weapons, wire and exploding tags, he didn't have much time to set this up. Wait, did he want to use real weapons or shadow clone objects? Did he even make them to last until the next day? No, better to use real objects, just so his plan wasn't ruined by him running out of energy. He hastily made some traps with real fake tripwires, kunai launchers, trigger launchers, faker trigger launchers, real launchers which looked fake wires which tripped the real wires, and buried exploding tags in a semicircle around where he remembered Kakashi to have been. Thank God he hadn't moved around much until the end. Unknown to Naruto, Kakashi was crouched in a tree looking very amused at his potential students' antics. He had been gazing at the memorial stone, about to go find the Hokage to scout out his potential students, when to his surprise one came directly to him. With the ease of an Anbu captain, he suppressed his chakra and hid, remembering the Uzumakis had been talented chakra sensors. He watched Naruto sneak in. How had he known he was going to use training ground 7? Well, team 7 to training ground 7 wasn't that big of a leap, he reasoned doubtfully. As Naruto set up traps, he felt a flicker of unease. Naruto couldn't have known what he had been planning to do. To be fair, he was notorious as a Jonin sensei, maybe Naruto heard it from somewhere. It wasn't a bad plan, rig up the ground beforehand, it was what shinobi were meant to do. It was useless since he'd seen it all, but the thought counted for something. He was slightly impressed, even if his lone eye was watering at the shade of his clothing. This was the dead last. He hummed to himself, flitting away, deciding to give Naruto a chance with his traps, since he had cleverly thought ahead and gathered information in such a short span of time. He was now really looking forward to this, maybe he could pass a team this year. Naruto panted as he finished his traps. Perfect, now he had to run back and oh wait, this was Kakashi he was thinking about. He had 3 hours to spare. He lazily slouched out of the training field and wandered back to the academy to meet up with his team. Kakashi stared in shock at Naruto's apartment. The same kid who proved he could think like a ninja kept his living conditions like this. The milk went bad a while ago, it was messy, and plants were everywhere with the dirt leaking out. Where was the order? The discipline? Where were the traps to stop enemy ninja? It didn't match up. This was the apartment of a dead last, the boy he'd seen earlier did not match that profile. So this is Naruto's house. He mused, hiding his shock. Yes, he's a moron, but I think giving him to you would be best. You have a nose for those types. Plus your team will have Sasuke from that Uchiha clan. Good luck. Yes, sir. Are you going to be late? Not more than usual. The Hokage rolled his eyes, at least let them know your name before subjecting them to your brand of peculiarity. Kakashi froze. He turned to face the Hokage sharply. They don't know who their Jonin sensei are going to be. The Jonin sensei are introduced as they pick up their teams. The Hokage puffed, why? Kakashi gazed intently at the milk carton, feeling oddly excited because Naruto snuck into training ground 7 to set traps. The two ninjas shared a look, then Kakashi grinned under his mask, this will be fun. Sasuke scowled into the silence. Sakura too had an irritated expression. Naruto on the other hand was bored out of his mind trying to cut a leaf in half with his chakra. He kept blowing them up in his face, and his face now had a singed smell to it. He knew he was getting some very odd looks from the other two, but resolved to ignore them, still a bit miffed from being ignored so casually earlier. Anko, what are you doing? Sakura demanded finally. He wanted his Sakura back with a vengeance. She was mature, capable and smart, this mocking caricature was all the negative parts of his Sakura magnified. When training. He responded with a fake big smile. She huffed, where did you pick that up? A friend taught me. His eyes softened as he remembered Yamato and Kakashi bickering away as he agonized over cutting leaves. Sakura saw his eyes soften and abandoned the cutting remark she was going to make about him having no friends. Teach me? She sat down opposite to him. Naruto nearly had a heart attack. Where was the punch for wasting her time? Or the dismissal of it as unimportant because Sasuke didn't do it? Why? No offense, Sakura. She glared at him then looked sideways as Sasuke blushing. Oh, that made more sense. She wanted to impress him with her qualities of hard work and dedication. He half rolled his eyes and half wanted to yell in glee. Things were already changing. Elemental training isn't that easy to pick up, dope. Sasuke cut in smoothly, you might even be training for the wrong element. Wrong element? Sakura looked at Naruto in confusion, ninjas can pick up most of the elements, right? Naruto nodded, yeah, but there's a dominant element which is easiest for a ninja to pick up. I'm fairly sure, his lips twitched minutely, mine is wind. What's yours, Sasuke? Sakura crooned, I bet it's the most impressive one. I don't know. Sasuke seemed a bit reluctant to bite it out. Fire and lightning. Naruto replied casually, swinging his feet. Shut up, Naruto. Sakura said absent-mindedly. Sasuke shot him an extremely hard look. How did you reason that one dope? His voice was cutting. Uchihas generally have a fire nature and you seem more of a lightning type than fire. Wow, Sasuke so cool, he has two elemental types. What about me? She looked expectantly at Naruto looked at her. Fire. Fire? Echoed Sakura and Sasuke looked put out. Fire. I don't know the exercise for fire and I doubt Sasuke does either. Naruto said with finality. But that awkward silence fell over the three of them. 2 more hours passed in mind-numbing boredom. Naruto checked the time and slid from his seat. 2 pairs of eyes snapped to his movement. There was no point using a chalk eraser this time, it wouldn't show on Kakashi-sensei's hair. He pulled out the chalk eraser and liberally splattered it with ink from ink pots. Payback time, he cackled mentally. He shoved it into the crack of the door. I'm not involved. Sakura huffed. PFFT like a jonin will fall for that kind of a trap. Sasuke scoffed derisively. At that moment a hand appeared around the academy door and pushed it open. The 3 genin watched in disbelief as the inky eraser fell with a splat on a silver-haired man in a dark mask. It worked better than Naruto anticipated, Kakashi grimaced under his mask. He hadn't expected ink, it would take time for it to go away even with water. Naruto burst out laughing. Ahahaha, you fell for it. He actually felt more like crying than laughing seeing his sensei again, but laughing hysterically was a good substitute. Kakashi of course picked up his laugh wasn't as real as it could have been and mentally raised an eyebrow. So far Naruto's behavior did not match up with the skulking boy on the training ground. He acted like Obitoon purpose. I'm so sorry sensei, I tried to stop him, but Naruto Sakura whimpered. Kakashi bent down to pick up the dirty eraser, vowing to get his revenge on Hiruzen for giving him a team seemingly like his old one. He spotted Sasuke giving him one of the trademark Uchiha skeptical looks and sighed mentally. He had a lot of work to do. How can I say this? He rubbed his chin, I don't like you guys. He catalogued each of their reactions carefully. He didn't need more acting from the more talented of the team on paper. Sasuke didn't react, that fit the profile. Sakura sweat dropped, okay that did too. Naruto gazed back innocently, that sort of did. Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes. He shunshed out leaving behind a lot of smoke just for Naruto being difficult. He sat on the roof edge lazily waiting for the children. Sasuke was first up, he motioned for Sasuke to take a seat in front of him. Then Naruto and Sakura got there at the same time. They took their seats without being prompted. Okay, let's begin with some introductions. What do you want to know? Sakura asked. How about your likes, dislikes, dreams, hobbies, stuff like that? He elaborated. Hey, why don't you introduce yourself to us first? Naruto yelled. You look suspicious. The girl backed up her teammate. He wanted to laugh, he looked suspicious. He looked like the epitome of a ninja. Except for the hair, but no one was perfect. Time for him to have some fun. My name is Hada Kakashi. I have no desire to tell you guys about my likes and dislikes. Dreams for the future. Never thought about it. Well, I have lots of hobbies. Naruto suppressed a snort. Kakashi-sensei was just the same. He remembered Kakashi giving the same speech to a noble client and the noble not knowing exactly how to react to such an enigmatic and infuriating statement. So all we learned is his name? Sakura whispered disgruntledly. Now it's your turn, from the right. Kakashi pointed to Naruto, take it away blondie. Naruto rolled his eyes, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. As in whirlpool not the topping. But the topping's great too, I love cup ramen. What I like more is when Iruka-sensei buys me ramen. I dislike waiting 3 minutes for the ramen to cook. Kakashi fought the urge to face palm. Come on, he urged Naruto to give him something to prove the dead last mask was just that, a mask. I dream. Naruto's face hardened as to usher in a new age of the ninja. The way he spoke sent chills down everyone's spine. Kakashi's eyes widened then relaxed, Naruto had grown in an interesting way. The bias brinks I guess. Naruto shrugged dispelling the tension he had created. I see. Kakashi murmured, next. He had a visionary for a student greet. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There are tons of things I dislike, but I don't really like anything. And you don't want to use the word dream, but I have an ambition. The resurrection of my clan and to kill a certain man. He glowered darkly into his hands. Kakashi wanted to read his porn desperately. A visionary and an avenger. Who had he pissed off in his life? And lastly the girl. I'm Haruno Sakura, the thing I like is wealth person I like Isam, should I say my dream for the future? Oh my. The thing I dislike is Naruto. Naruto grimaced at that as did Kakashi. My hobby is she kept glancing sideways at Sasuke. Oh brilliant, a visionary, an avenger and a fangirl taught by the lazy pervert. It sounded like the start of a bad joke. Okay. That's enough of that. We will start our duties tomorrow. He really enjoyed this next bit. But first we're going to do something with just the 4 of us. I smiled at them all and laughed inwardly when they didn't send hostile glances back. What? Sasuke bit out. Survival training. The two words dropped like a stone in the pleasant atmosphere. He crossed his arms. Why is our duty training? Sasuke sounded slightly confused. We did enough training at the academy. Sakura cried. Where? Everyone paused to consider Naruto's response. Kakashi narrowed his eye. Genin were supposed to question vague orders. I'm your opponent, but this isn't normal training. Why wasn't he surprised? Naruto didn't look surprised. What is it then? Sakura asked. He chuckled darkly, releasing the barest amount of his killing intent and watched two of his genin shiver before stilling. The third gave no indication he even felt it and just kept smiling. Well, the fox had to have Naruto immune to such tiny killing intent, he reasoned. What's so funny? Sasuke demanded. Well, it's just that when I tell you this, you guys are definitely going to flip. Naruto wasn't totally sure, but he was reasonably sure that last time there hadn't been genuine malice glittering in Kakashi's lone eye. Or the dangerous undertone to his voice when talking about the test. He gulped. He had no wish to face a more serious Kakashi in combat. Of the 27 graduates, only 9 will be chosen as genin. The rest will be sent back to the academy. This training is a super difficult exam with a failure rate over 66%. Kakashi cut an imposing figure with his flyaway silver hair and dark mask looming over them. Yeah, he definitely hadn't been that scary last time. Naruto decided, watching Sakura gulp and Sasuke glare more ferociously out of the corner of his eye. It had to be his fault, he was the only one different, but question was, what on earth had he done to warrant this? Haha. Kakashi chuckled sardonically. I told you you'd flip. Naruto decided quickly to act like a moron, just to try and fix the scenario to how he remembered it. What the hell? But we worked so hard, then what was the point of graduating? He yelled. It didn't work. In fact, it made it worse. Oh, that's just to select those that have a chance to become genin. Kakashi had never sounded that cold or like he didn't care about their futures in quite that way before. It chilled Naruto, and if it chilled him, it most definitely chilled the other two. I'll warn you now. Kakashi continued, a visionary seeking an impossible goal, an avenger after the loftiest ambition, a fangirl without any convictions, have no place in the shinobi forces. I will not blame you if you decide not to turn up tomorrow and get humiliated. Konoha has no need of weak brats, and I refuse to teach babies. He stared at all of them coolly. Naruto felt ice form in his stomach. Where was lazy sensei? Where was bored sensei? Where was perverted sensei? The man in front of them was a vicious cold killer. He bit his lip. He had to pass. Or the future would change drastically. Well, he already knew the test, all he had to do was persuade the other two to come around to his point of view. Don't bother having breakfast if you decide to turn up. You'll just throw it up. The details are on this printout, don't be late tomorrow. With that, the ominous aura vanished, and Kakashi was back to his normal self with a bored intonation and lazy eye. Naruto was frozen to his seat, as were his teammates. The change was terrifying, even more than his other self. Nobody dared say anything. He skimmed the printout, basic information, and threw it away. When they looked up from the printout, Kakashi was gone. I think we got the scariest jonin in Konoha. Sakura whispered. The way he just changed. Higher nin are usually unbalanced. Sasuke grunted. Sakura looked at him in horror, then where their sensei had been. Naruto licked his dry lips. We're going to die tomorrow. Kakashi leapt over the rooftops, incredibly disappointed with his new team. The girl was merely a fangirl. Top Kunoichi. Really? He didn't see an inner core of strength he saw in the other two. She would be detrimental to teamwork, hanging off one and belittling the other. From muscle definition, she didn't worked out or practiced as much as she should have. A Kunoichi wearing a dress. A nice dress at that. It was ridiculous. It wasn't because she reminded him of Rin, he told himself. Then there was Sasuke. He could believe Sasuke was the rookie of the year. Uchihas were naturally gifted in combat, but his obsession with his brother was worrying. The desire for power glimmered in the back of his eyes, and Kakashi knew he had to be careful. The boy was a loner, teamwork would not come naturally to him, considering the last person he trusted killed all of his family. Yeah, Kakashi was going to have problems. And he could see a younger version of himself in Sasuke, but really, who cared? He didn't. Naruto. The most confusing member of the team. He had some gigantic secrets which could potentially splinter the team apart. He had the distinct feeling Naruto was used to his antics, but that was impossible. All Naruto had seen of him was his silver hair when he guarded him as a kid. He didn't trust either of his teammates, and it showed in the way he kept both of them in his side at all times and kept glancing at them. A team with secrets was a faulty team, he thought grimly. He had to find a way to get Naruto to share them. He acted like a Beto, but he wasn't. There was a hidden intelligence there, which he saw earlier. That was the reason he liked Naruto least at the minute. He could deal with a generation Xerox of his team. Naruto messed it up. He could not see a team forming. Naruto turned up on time just in case the weirdness that had infected Kakashi had also made him inclined to be on time. It was a lost cause. Like the original time he waited for 3 hours with his team in utter silence. He didn't want to talk, they reminded him too much of their future selves. Sasuke was too antisocial to talk, and Sakura was too intimidated by twin sources of tension to consider breaking the silence. Dimly he was aware this was very bad for team building, but he suppressed it. He missed his Konoha and friends. Hell, he even missed Sai and all his jokes. He had just spent the night drawing scenes from his memory in a brooding silence. The change in Kakashi unsettled him, there shouldn't have been a change this early. Yo. Good morning. The subject of his thought wandered up. You're late. Snarked Sasuke, shrieked Sakura, commented Naruto. Kakashi I smiled, this time no one smiled back. I got delayed to buy a new alarm clock, I jammed a kunai in my old one. He mused thoughtfully. Okay, it's set for noon. He clicked the alarm on an alarm clock on a stump. Came the response. Kakashi held up 2 silver bells. Here are 2 bells. Your task is to take these from me before noon. Those who can't get a bell by noon get no lunch. I'll not only tie you to one of those stumps, but I'll eat right in front of you. On Q3 stomachs rumbled. Naruto had thought it best to play it safe. You only need to get 1 bell. There are only 2, so one of you will definitely be tied to a stump. And person who doesn't take a bell fails. So at least one of you will be sent back to the academy. Kakashi's lone eye looked over them all, use whatever you like. You won't succeed unless you come at me with intent to kill. Actually they wouldn't succeed at all, but there was no need to crush hopes. Sensei, you couldn't dodge a blackboard eraser. Naruto said cautiously. Empty pot sound the loudest. Ignore Mr. Dead Last and start when I say dead last. Just because he was dead last didn't mean he had no talent. But he wasn't suicidal or stupid enough to charge at Kakashi with just a kunai this time. However, he wasn't going to let that comment slide, he had enough of being ignored, damn it. But his decision was taken out of his hands by Kakashi, blurring from where he was. Milliseconds later he felt one hand being twisted back and cold steel of a kunai at his throat. He didn't dare to gulp, he hadn't done anything. See that? Look at your teammates, each of them reacted accordingly. You are the dead last, Naruto could feel Kakashi shrug, it is simply unavoidable. Then Kakashi released him and slotted away his kunai. Naruto looked. Sasuke was in a defensive guard and he had been in that guard ever since he lost track of Kakashi. Sakura had reacted too by bringing her arms up in a parody of a block. Why hadn't Naruto reacted? Despite this Kakashi scaring him, he still trusted his sensei and didn't believe he would harm Naruto. Acknowledge me and I'll acknowledge you. Kakashi crinkled his eye and patted Naruto on the head. Start. Kakashi wanted to face the war veteran fiend. The 3 genin blurred away to hide, Naruto had attached a note to each of their shirts when they hadn't been paying attention. Pranking helped so much with stealth. It read, mind the traps. It's a test of teamwork. I have a plan. Naruto. Sasuke read it, raised an eyebrow and commended Kakashi in his head for such a confusing test. The way he managed to imitate Naruto's writing was remarkable, except for the fact Sasuke knew Naruto couldn't spell to save his life. He casually threw what was a trap in his mind away. He had to get a bell alone, Sakura was a wait and Naruto was the dead last, there could be no teamwork there. Sakura read it and thought about it. Well, it was true genin teams were in groups of 4, it was also true that she had seen many teams of 3 in Konoha. Perhaps Naruto could be correct, but she couldn't take the chance, she had to be with Sasuke on a team of 3 or 4. Working with Naruto meant Sasuke would fail and she couldn't stand that. Perhaps she could work together with Sasuke. Naruto crouched under a bush and hoped that they would believe him. After a while, when he saw no movement towards him, he sighed and accepted the fact they hadn't believed him. Why did they have to be so difficult? He griped. Hello, Naruto. The cheery voice of his sensei behind him spooked him so much he scrambled away as quick as he could. Oh good, you have some instincts. Kakashi crinkled his eye, squatting behind the bush. How? I mean, you're over there. Naruto pointed in a direction where a lack of a Kakashi was incredibly obvious. Oh. You're slightly off in hiding. Kakashi commented lightly, this yours? He held up one of the notes Naruto had given to the others. Oh dear. You have a plan. Mind showing me it? I do actually. Naruto agreed, I do mind, that is. Pity. Well, I do hope you'll show me your plan when you're trying not to get hit. Naruto felt foreboding tickle his spine. He backed off slightly and got in a defensive pose. Kakashi clucked disapprovingly, your left foot is too far out, you're too bent over, your right hand should be higher, and your other hand should be lower. If you were older and taller, that stance would be fine. Naruto fixed his stance and immediately felt more at ease. He hadn't realized his old habits would be passed on, this made learning taijutsu more difficult than he had imagined. Weak point of the stance. Came the voice behind him. Oh come on, not again. Is here. 2 fingers poked him in the neck and he collapsed in agony, clutching his neck. He looked up to see Kakashi looking curiously at his fallen form. I suppose I have to take it easy on you. He sighed, you are the dead last after all. Something gleamed in his lone eye. Naruto did not like it. At all. Kakashi's hand dipped into his pouch then paused. Hey kid, if I told you, you could be a genin if you tell me which of your two teammates deserve to go back, who would you say? What? I saw your trap making skills yesterday and information gathering, you figured out the purpose of this test. You're at the genin level. So who would you send back? Don't be shy here. I wouldn't, he stammered confused. Kakashi's eye glittered in disappointment. I see, inability to make decisions in a hurry is a crucial setback. Maybe I was wrong in thinking you had some redeeming qualities, you aren't genin level. That stung. You just said I had good trap making and information gathering skills. He yelled. Kakashi rolled his eyes, the mindset of a genin is more important than the skills of a genin. I couldn't care less about what you can or can't do but what you're willing to do. And anyway I was being nice. That sounded more like his Kakashi, but the implied meaning wasn't. Show me why you deserve to be on this team. Sasuke is a genius in his own right and Sakura can be molded to be great. You're the dead last, the wait. Kakashi demanded sliding into his own stance. Naruto noticed his book was nowhere in sight. Hell, what had he done to merit this big a change? This cruelty was not familiar to him from his sensei. Kakashi dealt him a punishing blow to the solar plexus. He couldn't block it in time and he wheezed as he was sent stumbling back. There was no time to recover as Kakashi kicked him viciously in the side sending him into a tree. His side felt like something was broken with the force of that kick, he curled up before pushing himself to his feet. Kakashi was still standing where he had been watching him. Page Bunshin no Jutsu. He whispered, talking hurt. 50 copies of him appeared around the clearing and started to attack Kakashi. Surprise wasn't there anymore. He had done Kawarimi with the original Naruto, so he got the pounding meant for Kakashi until his clones noticed. Think before you use a jutsu or it'll be used against you. Kakashi remarked casually as he chopped a clone across the windpipe so it dispelled. Naruto gritted his teeth, he couldn't match up to Kakashi. The man was too smart and apparently not hesitant to pull any punches. I cleared it with the Hokage, I can do anything I like against you guys. He clapped his hands, isn't that great? No. You broke something. Ma, it'll heal. You have the Kyuubi after all. Pretty much everything I do to you will get healed. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Naruto's remaining clone circled him warily. Don't tell me you're giving up on the mission objective so easily. The bells are right here. He pointed to his side. You must think I'm stupid if you think I'm going to rush in like a madman. Naruto rasped out. I do think you're stupid. Kakashi agreed, you haven't noticed it's a genjutsu yet. What? When had he? Kai. Nothing happened. Arg. A kunai thrown at such an angle that it went through both his hands pinning them together. Blood dripped down his hand as he felt the bones shift around the kunai as he tried to move his hands. It was agony. I lied kid. I do that sometimes. Rule number 2 of combat. Never listen to the enemy. You've already broken rule number 1. What's that? Naruto backed off slowly pulling his right hand out of its position with a squelch. He grimaced, his blood had an all too familiar coppery smell. Never get in a fight you can't win. Come on Naruto, I did say it was survival training. I get it. Naruto snarled. No, you don't get it, that's why I'm telling you. You think you get it, which isn't the same as actually getting it. Get it? Kakashi snarked. Kawarimi. 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 He and his clone swapped with each other several times until Kakashi lost track of the original. Right, really, he could smell the blood back to a single Naruto. That plan wouldn't work on him. 3 clones came at him, one low, one middle, one high. He side grabbed the highest one by the ankle and brought him smashing down into the other 2, so they all dispelled. You're going to have to do better than that, dead last. The clones in a fit of fury piled on top of him, kicking and punching all available parts of him. Maybe he had pushed the boy a little too far. Kakashi casually pulled out a heavy chain with razor-sharp sickles on both ends and began to spin it expertly. Each flash of steel dispelled at least 4 clones as they were bisected screaming. The original gaped and hastily summoned more clones in the hope of crushing Kakashi under numbers. No. They all died too. A stray slash caught Naruto on his left arm and he cried out in pain. Blood spurted out and he felt vomit build up in the back of his throat as his eyes went blurry from tears of pain. Slam. Naruto was pinned to a tree, a sickle scraping his neck as it curved around his neck to stick in the tree. He couldn't move his head or he'd lose it. Kakashi-sensei. He was now getting scared. Maybe he was in an alternate dimension, there was no other explanation for this. Stay still Naruto. He heard from outside his range of vision. You sure are weak for someone who wants to usher in a new age of ninja. Shut up. He breathed, going heady from blood loss. He felt the awful pressure of failure on his chest. Kakashi-sensei was treating him like he was a demon. That hurt more than any of his wounds. He felt a chain wrap around his right arm. Sensei, what are you doing? He called out in a panic. Not your sensei yet kid. Kakashi called back absent-mindedly. You still have to get a bell. Are you spending your entire time focusing on me? Not the other two. Silence. Deceptively calm silence. You would foist me on your teammates and have me leave you alone. You disgust me. Kakashi pulled hard on the chain. Naruto screamed to high heaven, choking and sobbing as the chain pulled tight around his arm, cutting into the flesh down to the bone and splintering the bone itself to become straight. He was blinded by pain, his vision went splotchy, and he was dimly aware of a loud wailing, hiccuping sound. Now let us try again. Kakashi's hand grabbed Naruto's chin to force it down to meet his lone eye. I'm sure you didn't mean what you said, care to try again? Bastard. He sobbed. Kakashi shook the chain slightly, white-hot agony shot up his arm and down his shoulder. Stop. You'll kill me. Trust me kid, if I channeled fire or lightning down this then it would be painful. Look at you, like a lamb to the slaughter. I can't on good conscience send you out as a genin of the leaf if you go down this easily to opponents. Where's your plan? Where's your pride? Isn't it great that basically I have permission to kill you and no one would blink an eye? Here's a plan. Naruto gritted his teeth and punched Kakashi in the stomach with all the chakra he could channel with his left arm. It broke under the strain and he screamed, but Kakashi was sent flying backwards winded. Thank God Kakashi had let go of the chain, he didn't want to imagine what would have happened then. Oh God, Kakashi had done this to him. Why? This wasn't real, he told himself firmly. This couldn't be real. Hi. He said. The genjutsu broke. Naruto stared wide-eyed back at a lounging Kakashi-sensei who was smiling at him. It took you a long time to break. I took the time to get rid of your clones. He said cheerfully. You have a sadistic imagination, sensei. He got out while fixing his eyes firmly on Kakashi's feet. When did you even? He was slipping. How could there be such a difference between him and his war self? When you said Kai for the first time. Sensei sounded far too happy, he decided. Well, I covered you in taijutsu and genjutsu, only one left. You beat me up. You didn't see what I could do in taijutsu. Naruto pointed out defensively. Kakashi waved a hand, I saw your clones. I got a good idea. You've given up on the bells completely, haven't you? He peered at Naruto. It doesn't matter, does it? Even if I get a bell we won't pass unless we show teamwork. How long do we? 10 minutes. Are you sure I'm testing you on teamwork, considering I found out you knew the answer before I gave you the test? Naruto froze, then looked up to see Kakashi's eye twinkling at him. You're a cage bunshin. He said slowly. You're not giving us the chance to work together. Why? Naruto was enraged. If you really wanted to work together, I couldn't stop you. Kakashi shrugged. Face it, you warned your teammates. No one wants to work together. I want to work together. Naruto yelled. Kakashi fixed him with a piercing stare. No, you don't. Naruto opened his mouth, then closed it again. Maybe when he really thought about it, he didn't want to work with his teammates. He wanted to work with the people they would become. He needed to accept that this was his reality now, he had to work with them. He looked down at his feet and shuffled. You're right. He said in a small voice. Kakashi ruffled his hair, the very familiar act almost bringing tears to Naruto's eyes. Come on Naruto, 4 minutes and we'll end this. His voice was kind. Show me some ninjutsu. And embarrass myself. Naruto snorted. Kakashi chuckled, not everyone can be as good as me I know, but give it your best shot. You saw my cage bunshin. Naruto shrugged, there's Kawarimi and Henge. That's it really. Ooh. 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 He bounced around. Kakashi frowned slightly. Cage bunshin. Change your mind about the bells. He asked lightly, slipping into a stance. Nope. This is revenge. Oric. Countless girls hung off Kakashi in the same manner as Ibisu. Kakashi went bloodless so fast his skin matched his hair. They cooted him and draped themselves over him. Then after a moment of consideration he pushed up his headband to reveal the Sharingan. Naruto dispelled it immediately. Pervert. He announced. Kakashi reached into his pouch and held up Icha amused. The bell rang. Kakashi was confused. Who wouldn't be? He had just put Naruto through a very traumatizing genjutsu and the boy had just shaken it off like it was nothing. Instant forgiveness had not been in mind as a reaction when he had put the boy under a genjutsu. He'd expected screaming, running away, loss of trust, anything except a snarky answer and understanding. The boy had understood. Maybe Naruto hadn't even realized he understood, but it was clear from the way he unconsciously fell into a neutral pose. Albeit a much butchered neutral pose, but the original intention wasn't hard to work out. If anything, the boy seemed angry at himself for falling to the genjutsu in the first place. That was the reaction of an experienced sparring partner, not a fresh rookie genin. But it was also clear he was a fresh rookie genin. His skills were abysmal in taijutsu, genjutsu, but ninjutsu wasn't too bad for a genin. His cage bunshin had been trickier than he expected though, there had been a lot of hinging into weapons and random tufts of grass, only to ambush him as the other clones threw them, or he almost stepped on them. Nothing he couldn't handle easily of course, but the level of trickery was better than his teammates by a long shot. If another village had managed to capture Naruto, extract the Kyuubi, implant the Kyuubi into another boy, got him back into Konoha hinged as the real Naruto, all without someone noticing, he might as well commit seppuku now. So he assumed it was the real Naruto. Foxes were known to be masters of deception. Could the fox be influencing Naruto to hide his abilities? He cursed in his head, Naruto's seal weakening was out of his abilities to fix. What would you have done, Obito? He thought rhetorically before sighing and resigning himself to try and contact the Toad Sannin as soon as possible. Why oh why was the seal master in the opposite end of Fire Country than the most important potentially unstable seal in Fire Country? Maybe he was overreacting. Nah, it wasn't possible to overreact when the Kyuubi was involved. His mind turned to his other students. He resisted the urge to fall to his knees and beg for forgiveness from the deity he had apparently pissed off. Sakura was worse than useless at the minute. And he was being kind. At least Rin had some useful points to her at the beginning. Sasuke was good. Undeniably good. Granted, Kakashi hadn't gone as harsh on him as he had on Naruto, so Sasuke got a chance to show his skills off Mario. He really needed to give Naruto that opportunity as well, just to see what he could do. Never said his plan as well. There was one fundamental difference between a younger him and Sasuke, he had respected his sensei from the beginning. Maybe this team wasn't like his old team at all. If they passed, and that was a big if, he needed to sort the team out fast. How on earth did Naruto to do so much from so little? How on earth did he turn Sakura into a useful member of the ninja corps? How on earth did he curb Sasuke's obsession with his brother? He was an ex-Anbu captain, he told himself, he could handle 3 tiny brats. A light bulb sparked in his head. Guy. If that didn't get them united, nothing would. He walked off making plans, seemingly unaware that he had already accepted the thought of them passing. He had an uncomfortable thought that he wouldn't be going to such lengths if his interest hadn't been piqued yesterday. Naruto was tied to the stump. Why always him? He was more cheerful than he had been in a while. Kakashi-sensei was bipolar, true, but finally he had accepted that he was stuck in this reality. Now he could stop treating this like a vacation and get to work. Sakura and Sasuke were piles of depression on either side of him. Oh, you guys look really hungry. Kakashi looked so concerned under his mask. By the way, something about the training. There's no need for you guys to go back to the academy. Sakura perked up looking surprised, even Sasuke showed some surprise in his eyes. Naruto gathered their experiences had gone as badly as his own. And then. All 3 of us. Naruto yelled just because he was so cheerful. Kakashi shoved his hands in his pockets, yup, all 3 of y'all should quit as ninjas. Yeah, Naruto was expecting that, he just slumped back against the ropes. Sakura and Sasuke gaped to Kakashi in shock and anger. Kakashi stared back, a dark expression in his lone eye. This wasn't friendly Kakashi anymore, Naruto thought with a gulp, woo boy. Quit. Sakura screeched, what does that mean? Fine, we didn't get the bells, but do we have to quit? Naruto asked, irony lacing his tone. Kakashi shot him an extremely sharp look. He looked away hurriedly. Because all of y'all are just punks who don't deserve to be ninjas. He said calmly as if he wasn't splintering their life dreams. Sasuke couldn't take more of this. With a roar he charged at Kakashi. With blinding speed, Sasuke found himself face down in the dirt with Kakashi on top of him with a foot on his head. This is why you're a punk. He told Sasuke. Don't step on Sasuke. Sakura yelled. Kakashi unleashed some of his bloodlust. He was satisfied to see Sakura shrink back and Sasuke shift in the dirt. Naruto, however, still didn't react, he glared at the blonde boy. That got him to flinch back, he noticed grimly. Are you guys underestimating ninjas? Huh? Why do you think you were divided into teams when doing this training? Kakashi barked. Huh? What does that mean? Sakura asked timidly in the wake of Kakashi's ire. He was furious, one of them knew the answer and was not telling. The other 2 had the answer handed to them but refused to see it. Hell, Sasuke came from a ninja clan, he should have picked this up before. Sakura should have picked it up in her reading. If Naruto could pick it up, so could the top 2 ninja in their year. This was not teamwork. There was no element of trust here. He restrained himself. Asakali, you guys are not understanding the answer to this test. He glared at Naruto, practically challenging him to ask what the answer was. He didn't know why Naruto acted, but it was going to stop right now. Answer? Sasuke grunted muffled from underneath Kakashi. He rolled his eyes, yes, the answer which usually helps people pass tests. He scathingly bit out. When are you going to tell us? Sakura ventured. I'm not. He is. Kakashi nodded at Naruto, who looked like a deer in the headlights. Naruto could feel Kakashi's anger building. Normally sensei was a laid-back guy, but apparently lack of teamwork set him off. Good to know, he gulped nervously. He licked his lips. It's teamwork. He whispered. Exactly. Kakashi looked slightly mollified, the three of you working together may have gotten the bells. Sakura burst out, but there are 2 bells. That just makes us fight each other, what teamwork? Of course. This test is purposely set up to make you fight amongst yourselves. The purpose is to see whether you can forget about your own interests and successfully work together under designed circumstances. You didn't give us the chance to work together. Naruto called out suddenly. I gave you 10 minutes. There was an awful lack of cooperation, so I took things into my own hands. It's like that on the battlefield. You work together from the start or it gets exponentially harder to work together later on. Kakashi looked over all of them. You guys Sakura, you had the answer given to you as did Sasuke. Did either of you think it through? You were too concerned with Sasuke who was far away instead of Naruto who you could hear fighting. Naruto, you gave your teammates one chance, then abandoned them. Sasuke. You assumed everyone else would get in your way and tried to do everything yourself and failed. The duties are done by the team. Of course superior individual ability is important to a ninja, but what is more important is teamwork. Kakashi reached back into his pouch. Naruto tensed, Kakashi sent him a curiously approving look. Individual play that disrupts the team can put your comrades in danger. And even get you killed. For example he whipped out a kunai, immobilized Sasuke, and pressed a kunai to his neck, Sakura. Kill Naruto. Or Sasuke dies. That sort of choice has bad consequences no matter what you do. Naruto roared, drowning out Sakura's wide. Exactly. If a hostage is taken, you will have tough choices. You will be risking your lives in these duties. Kakashi climbed off Sasuke, tucking away his kunai. He walked over to a stone with numerous names carved on it. Naruto took a sharp breath, the stone had been destroyed in the invasion of pain, and most of the names had been forgotten. Here it was whole and sound. Look at this. There are lots of names carved onto this stone. These are the ninjas who are recognized as heroes of the village. Naruto looked away. How many had died in the war without getting their name etched on the memorial? All of these heroes died in the line of duty. This is a memorial. My best friend's name is also carved here. He wasn't much of a friend, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto thought, thinking of Obito and his tragic story. It would have been better if you had left him to complete your mission. Then he could have died as a proud shinobi. Kakashi turned halfway to face them. I'll give you one more chance. But after lunch I'll make it even tougher to get the bells. Those who still wish to challenge can eat lunch. But don't give any to Naruto. Why? He yelped. Because your traps annoyed May had to waste time throwing your clones around to get rid of them. If anyone gives him any food, they will fail immediately. I am the rules here. Got it. Kakashi disappeared with a leap. Oh, so that's what happened to his beautiful traps. He pouted. It's fine guys, I don't need any food. He said calmly. His stomach betrayed him, but he ignored it. They needed to give up their food willingly for Naruto for him to consider working with them. What did sensei do to you? Naruto asked them randomly to break the silence of the meeting. Sakura swallowed then, genjutsu to show Sasuke's disembodied head. She blushed, I passed out, and when I woke up I saw Sasuke buried to his neck, and by the time I got him out, the time was up. Sasuke replied shockingly, he had an ninjutsu battle with me after a taijutsu battle. It left me buried in the earth. He admitted. Naruto whistled, you got in a ninjutsu fight with a ninjutsu specialist of Konoha. I'm surprised you're not more battered. He killed me with taijutsu and genjutsu. Naruto, you were not good at taijutsu, I'm sure it wasn't that bad, just humiliating. Sakura pointed out. Naruto shook his head, he kicked me into a tree. Say what you will but trees are hard. It seemed like Kakashi had gone normal, toned down strength on the other two, why so vicious to Naruto? It wasn't because Kakashi hated Naruto, hell, his father had taught Kakashi. Only explanation, Kakashi was suspicious and was testing him for his rank. A genin would not be able to stand against the Sharingan no Kakashi, and he had proved quite epically he was outclassed in every aspect. Why was Kakashi suspicious? The whole trapping the training field had given away his secret that he wasn't a dead last anymore, he groaned out loud, but Sakura and Sasuke mistook it as a groan of despair and hunger. Here. Sasuke snapped as he abruptly held out his lunch towards Naruto. Naruto blinked then smiled hesitantly. Hey Sasuke, sensei just said. Don't worry, I can't sense him near here. After lunch we'll work together and get the bells. Without food he'll just be in the way and that'll only hurt his. Sasuke explained. Sakura bit her lip, then she too thrust her lunch towards Naruto. Thanks you guys, Naruto smiled, haha. Kakashi leant against a tree out of his genin's view and smiled under his mask. Time for some fun. Thunder boomed in front of the genin, a harsh gale whipped out throwing dust and smoke in their eyes, so they coughed and rubbed their eyes. Kakashi appeared in the middle of it all, surrounded in brilliant flashes of lightning, with his killing intent turned to an all-time high. Sakura curled into a ball trembling, Sasuke froze locked into place, while Naruto reflexively snarled and bared his teeth at the source of the killing intent. Kakashi glared murder at all three of them, forcing them to visualize images of their own death in their heads. You guys. The wind dropped, the lightning faded and thunder ceased. Pass. Heh. Kakashi I smiled at them still in his murderous pose. Has anyone told you how incredibly disturbing that is, sensei? Naruto got out. Pass. But why? Sakura uncurled herself, slowly shaking. Kakashi patted her on the head to get her to recover. Sasuke shook away Kakashi's hand when it was his turn. You guys are the first. Huh? Everyone else would do whatever I told them to. They were all morons. Kakashi sounded derisive, and ninja must see underneath the underneath. Those who break the rules and codes of the ninja world are called trash, but you know what? Those who don't take care of their comrades are lower than trash. Kakashi imparted his most important rule to them and winked at Naruto, who shook his head at him. The little test within a test earlier had been informative. That ends the training. All of you pass. Okay. Starting tomorrow Team 7 will begin its duties. Kakashi was happy again. He finally had a team which he might like even if everyone on it succeeded majorly. He really had to talk to a blonde genin under his command soon. Thinking about it. You two go home. I have to talk to Naruto about his attire. Kakashi waved off Sakura and Sasuke and squatted in front of Naruto to meet him at eye level. Sakura laughed and Sasuke smirked as they walked off. I'm perfect as I am, sensei. Naruto said immediately, knowing Kakashi would pick up on the hidden meaning. It'll interfere in the carrying out of duties by the team. Kakashi countered. It's not good to hide beneath such baggy layers. You can't move as efficiently and your combat effectiveness goes down. People will underestimate me. Naruto wet his lips. People will aim for you first because you will seem like the weak link in the team. Kakashi corrected. Did you mean what you said before when you tested me? This was a question he really wanted the answer to. No matter how strong a chain is, relatively one of its links is always the weakest. Kakashi murmured. Shoddy workmanship, cheap fittings. Naruto nodded. I'm used to these clothes and they're comfortable. Give some new clothes a chance. You might be surprised. Kakashi rolled his eyes. I'm not saying go mesh, just more form-fitting clothes in more natural colors. Naruto laughed. I think people would have a heart attack seeing me out of my trademark suit. They'll adjust. Kakashi would not budge an inch. Small changes. Naruto stressed the small. Why did you even wear the orange suit anyway, if you didn't like it? Kakashi asked casually, mind worrying. Naruto looked offended. I do like it, I just got tired of seeing the same color day after day, and by the time I wanted to change I couldn't. Why? Kakashi pressed. Naruto gave him a look. You're pressing me on the clothes you want me to wear. Imagine the reaction if I turned up in those clothes in front of everyone who knew me to love orange jumpsuits. People do mature in ninja careers very quickly. Not overnight. Came the quick reply. Better the truth overnight than lies over a couple of weeks. We're ninja, lies are in our job description. You've been genin for 5 minutes, you can be excused the lying part. But I'm good at it. Not so good that I didn't pick it up. You're a jonin. You don't count. Was the boy sulking? Kakashi was amused. Come on Naruto, I'll drag you around town until we find some better ninja attire. You know, as we have been talking about, Kakashi I smiled down at him and flipped a kunai so it cut through the ropes. I don't care if you wear that jumpsuit outside our team time, but while we're working as a team, you will wear suitable attire. Shouldn't you be saying that to Sakura too? Yup, definitely sulking. She doesn't have the same problem as you. With that, Kakashi picked up Naruto, tucked him under one arm and walked off reading his book while Naruto screamed bloody murder. 730. Chapter 3. I'm back. This is a nice light-hearted chapter because I felt nice. I don't own Naruto and I don't think I ever will at this rate. Here's the explanation for the twin conversations. 1 dialogue. Clothes is a metaphor here, people. I'm perfect as I am, sensei. Don't try and change how I act. It'll interfere in the carrying out of duties by the team. Kakashi countered. It's not good to hide beneath such baggy layers. You can't move as efficiently and your combat effectiveness goes down. Acting will hinder teamwork. It's not good to act, you can become the mask. If people think you're an idiot, then in combat teamwork goes down because people don't know what you can do. People will underestimate me. I can surprise people. People will aim for you first because you will seem like the weak link in the team. Kakashi corrected. You won't get the chance to surprise people, they'll aim for you first. Did you mean what you said before when you tested me? This was a question he really wanted the answer to. Self-explanatory. No matter how strong a chain is, relatively one of its links is always the weakest. Kakashi murmured. Shoddy workmanship, cheap fitting, self-explanatory again. Naruto nodded. I'm used to these clothes and they're comfortable. I've got used to acting like this. Give some new clothes a chance. You might be surprised. Kakashi rolled his eyes. I'm not saying go mesh, just more form-fitting clothes in more natural colors. Try not acting for a change. I'm not saying bare your heart and secrets, just something closer to the real Naruto. Naruto laughed. I think people would have a heart attack seeing me out of my trademark suit. People will be surprised and shocked if I decide not to act. They'll adjust. Kakashi would not budge an inch. They'll have to cope. Small changes. Naruto stressed the small. Over a long period of time. Why did you even wear the orange suit anyway if you didn't like it? Kakashi asked casually, mind worrying. Why do you even act if you don't like it? Kakashi is hypothesizing. Naruto looked offended. I do like it, I just got tired of seeing the same color day after day, and by the time I wanted to change I couldn't. I kept acting little bit by little bit, and when the acting was too far apart from what I'm like I couldn't change back. Why? Kakashi pressed. Naruto gave him a look. You're pressing me on the clothes you want me to wear. Imagine the reaction if I turned up in those clothes in front of everyone who knew me to love orange jumpsuits. People will think someone influenced me. People do mature in ninja careers very quickly. There are explanations to cover that. Not overnight. Came the quick reply. Need time to change back. Better the truth overnight than lies over a couple of weeks. We're ninja, lies are in our job description. Don't make me change. You've been genin for 5 minutes, you can be excused the lying part. You're going to change. But I'm good at it. Not so good that I didn't pick it up. Tough. You're a jonin. You don't count. Was the boy sulking? Kakashi was amused. Come on Naruto, I'll drag you around town until we find some better ninja attire. Kakashi is using the opportunity to get Naruto out of that jumpsuit as well. You know, as we have been talking about, Kakashi I smiled down at him and flipped a kunai so it cut through the ropes. I don't care if you wear that jumpsuit outside our team time, but while we're working as a team, you will wear suitable attire. I don't care if you act to the rest of the village with the team you want. Shouldn't you be saying that to Sakura too? Yup, definitely sulking. She doesn't have the same problem as you. With that, Kakashi picked up Naruto, tucked him under one arm and walked off reading his book while Naruto screamed bloody murder. She isn't hiding beneath a mask. Kakashi strolled in a ninja wares shop, waved lazily at the owner and made for the back where the clothes were. Sensei, you can put me down now, Naruto grouched. Kakashi hummed, see anything you like. Naruto looked around, craning his neck. Where's the orange? His sensei grimaced under his mask and reluctantly strode down another aisleway. Wonderful miraculous orange. Discreet Naruto ninja not thugs. Naruto shrugged. He didn't particularly care about being discreet, but the jacket he wanted, the one that Jiraiya gave him, was somewhere scattered in Fire Country. So if he didn't care about new clothes, sue him. Fine, that dark orange top and that black shorts. Kakashi actually stopped dead, very surprised at how easy it was to get Naruto to agree to be more discreet. That's it? He asked cautiously. No brighter shades of orange. No more protests. It's the only one with the Uzumaki spiral on the back. Came the reply. Kakashi nodded grimly. He grabbed the top and 2 others which he gave Naruto absolutely no choice in, the shorts and another pair, before dumping Naruto and all of the clothes in front of the owner. Naruto caught a flash of blue out of the corner of his eye and remembered the nervous boy in dark blue he had taken pity on and whispered teamwork to. He wondered if his team had passed or failed following the hint. Sorry mister, we don't accept children as payment for merchandise. Came the respectful reply. Naruto pouted at the girl and turned away. She fought the urge to remain indifferent and smile. She priced it all, and Naruto paid for them, while Kakashi surveyed some of the basic trapping scrolls. Put these on my tab. He called out carelessly to the girl when walking out, still with Naruto under one arm. Sensei? We're done right? Nope. Why? Who am I, Naruto? Kakashi sensei. Who are you, Naruto? Naruto Uzumaki. And together what do we make? Half of Team 7. Kakashi I smiled at him, exactly. And carried on walking. What? Where are you taking me anyway? Do you know how long it took me to break into your home? Why were you breaking into my home in the first place? Naruto yelled in alarm. His drawings of the future were there. Had Kakashi done this in the previous timeline? Oh come on Naruto, I get a genin team, first course of action is information gathering. So you broke into my house. Kakashi adopted a long-suffering tone, I didn't see much. Just your milk. And it wasn't as much breaking in as strolling in. We are going to sort out your traps before some mercenary comes and slits your throat for being my student. Oh, is that likely to happen? Naruto sounded nervous. Kakashi didn't blame him. You need all the help you can get. Kakashi muttered under his breath. Hopefully this would help him come to a judgment on the blonde. Then louder, yes. The finality of his voice stopped all conversation between sensei and student. Naruto was thinking furiously. Hey, are Sakura and Sasuke going to be alright? He was pretty sure in the past this hadn't happened. Or had it and he hadn't noticed. Or maybe it had happened when he was on missions. Oh god, Kakashi was going to make him paranoid now. Kakashi smiled under his mask, Sasuke has a clan compound to himself. The seals and protections on that will keep any intruders out, as you should very well remember. Naruto didn't comment, Sakuram getting Anko to talk to her. What? It slipped out before Naruto could stop himself. Kakashi carried on walking, oh you've heard of her. The voice was mild and bored. Danger signs went off in Naruto's head. Oh. Who hasn't? He scoffed hoping that Kakashi would buy that lie. Kakashi walked into his apartment building and took the stairs two at a time. Kakashi supposed it could be true, after all Naruto had spent a lot of time around Shinobi when younger. She is rather hard to forget. Kakashi agreed and Naruto silently breathed out in relief. They stopped in front of his apartment and Kakashi dropped him unceremoniously. Naruto managed to stop himself from falling flat on his face and sent a withering look at his sensei. What? You want me to open the door when you just admitted you can break in? It is good manners after all. Kakashi smoothly admitted. Naruto shook his head muttering and opened the door. His familiar apartment gazed back at him, he could not prevent a smile from crossing his face. It had the familiar smell of home. Naruto, it stinks of wet leaves. The smile turned a little strained. This is the hidden leaf. He snapped back, forgive me for showing some village loyalty. Oh dear, he just realized he was treating Kakashi as he had back in the past future. Right, Kakashi was his new sensei now, he couldn't treat him like a friend. A sense of sadness washed over him, he'd have to work hard to get all his old friendships back to how he wanted them. Thankfully Kakashi just chuckled. Odd, he'd have to watch out for how he treated people. Right, here's how to make traps, how to make delay traps and basic ceiling traps. Kakashi just handed him 3 scrolls suddenly while inspecting his plants. Oh joy, his teaching skills had not improved one iota. Try and figure them out, however try to figure them out before you get killed in your bed one night. He remembered talking to Kankuro after the meeting of the 5 Cage about traps and chakra string uses and he thought that it was doable after all. He had survived last time after all. Okay. Naruto said agreeably, I don't want to die. Want any juice, sensei? He quite obligingly went into the kitchen. Kakashi worked fast. He bit his thumb and very quietly summoned Shiba, motioned for him to be quiet and very quietly explained what he wanted Shiba to do. Shiba nodded and prowled around the other rooms. Naruto came in seconds after Shiba's tail went out of sight. Did you want juice? You never answered. It's fine Naruto, you probably should get working on those traps. I'll see you tomorrow at the same place, same time. He shunshed out, Shiba using the smoke cover to sneak into the other room, having searched one already. Naruto blinked. First Kakashi dragged him everywhere and didn't want to leave it and he just left without much warning. Strange man. Page Bunshin. The 3 clones took the scrolls and began to work on them chattering away. Naruto sat down at the table and rubbed his temple. He needed a plan of action. He couldn't just keep making things up. Things really started going to hell after the Chunin exams. Oh, he had to find a way to warn the Hokage about that. He slammed his head against the table. He was a frontline combatant, not an undercover agent. He had no idea how to do this. Too much had happened and most of them were interrelated. If he changed one thing it could end up having disastrous consequences. Kurama. He called in the depths of his mind sour. What's wrong? What did you call me? The rumbling voice sounded stunned. Kurama, of course. It's your name after all. Naruto clambered over to the cage where he could just make out deep blood red fur in the darkness. Muscles shifted and there was a sense of the darkness itself moving as the fox's face came eye to eye with Naruto. A brilliant amber eye, the size of Naruto, seized him up. Where did you learn that name? The fox demanded angrily. Hot gusts blew over Naruto's face as the bloodlust in the cavern exploded. I'm off the bloodlust, Naruto sighed, you haven't done that in so long. Son told me. Guess you didn't make it back. Where did you even meet that monkey? What do you mean, back? The fox sounded like he didn't have the slightest clue what was going on. Naruto sat down crossing his legs, you might want to get comfortable for this. I met Son when he ate me when I was trying not to die against several Jinchuriki. If you don't start explaining properly in the next 5 seconds I will flood your coils with so much energy, it'll put you in a hospital bed for days. The fox warned. I'm from the future Kurama, to cut a long story short, and apparently you aren't. Naruto frowned, this is troublesome, I was hoping for your help. Why would I help you? The fox spluttered, all you humans are the same, always wanting my power and wanting to lock me up. We were friends in the future Kurama. Like Octopops and Jayuki. Naruto stared back at the fox dead serious, I never got the chance to tackle some of your hatred. I have a whole lifetime to try again. Prove to me you are from the future and that I shouldn't disregard your words as elaborate traps to get my power. The fox snarled, hot rancid breath wafting over Naruto. Shukaku, Matatabi, Isobu, Son Goku, Kakuo, Seiken, Jimei, Jayuki, Kurama. Learning all those hard names paid off in the end. Naruto grinned impishly up at the demon fox. They told me themselves, well except yours, Son told me yours. When he ate you. Kurama sounded a little faint. Oh, I got better. You helped me free them all from Obito's control. After that battle I let you out and we were partners for the rest of the war. Oh, and I met your young self." The fox face palmed. "Explain from the start. What happened, when, how and why with what? You let me out." "Well yeah, we are a two-man beast cell team. We kicked ass by the way, since you don't know." "I'm sure." The fox said dryly. "Now explain." It was a very, very, very long explanation later that the story wrapped up and Kurama had the picture of what was going to happen. Naruto looked up at Kurama beseechingly. "Do you believe me? Kid, shouldn't you have asked me that when you said you were from the future?" The fox snarked. "Yes I do, the names you gave me was sufficient proof. I don't see why I should help though. But we're friends. Friends help each other out. How have you helped me out? We went to war to protect you and Jayuki. Kid, you just dumped all of this on me. Give me some time to think. Everything you did I don't know about, I need time to make decisions. Go away, I've heard your voice enough for one day. Come back later." A tail flicked past the bars and hit Naruto hard enough so that he flew backwards and ended up falling out of his chair in his apartment. "Boss, you okay?" One of his clones called out. "Yeah, I'm fine." He called back. Well, Kurama was still as testy as ever. He chuckled. Wait, ninjutsu only didn't work on him if he was friendly with Kurama. Damn. At this point he wasn't, so it could be a genjutsu making him think he time traveled. How many days had it been? Almost 2 since he'd been back. It could beat Tsukiyomi. Wraith Moon Eye plan had been implemented. What if this was his dream, his fake reality? But he had been under a Susanoo. Was he really sure moonlight couldn't penetrate a Susanoo? Or that after when Kagaya had appeared, he hadn't been caught? What if his body was sleeping right now as Sasuke, Kakashi and Sakura fought Kagaya? They wouldn't stand chance without both him and Sasuke sealing her. Great, now he had 3 options on what was happening. Kagaya caught him and Tsukiyomi. Kagaya caught him and Infinite Tsukiyomi. Or he really was back in time. The first one was easy enough to check. He just had to wait another day and it would break. Second one was frankly impossible to check. Third one was also impossible to check. He sat back with a groan and banged his head against the table. Wait, his dream wasn't to have another chance at saving the world by going back in time, it was to be Hokage and have everyone he cared about alive. Well, everyone was alive here, but he wasn't Hokage. Wait. How could old man Hokage be alive and Naruto be Hokage and Infinite Tsukiyomi? Was this the genjutsu's way of compromising? Oh wait, there was retirement again for the old man. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. It wasn't Infinite Tsukiyomi. The other 2 options were fine for the meanwhile. Meanwhile, Shiba had found the bundled up drawings of the future and was looking in vague interest at some of the pictures. He grabbed a couple of them in his mouth, retied the bundle and dispelled himself. Naruto lifted his head up quizzically and the sound of smoke dissipating. He should know, how many cage buncheons had he dispelled? There was an intruder. He motioned for the clones to guard the exits while he snuck near the doorway closest to the sound. Did Kakashi-sensei jinx him with the talk of mercenaries? Cage buncheon. He sent in a clone first, then got the memories as it dispelled due to it not seeing anything except for some smoke. Smoke. What techniques used smoke? Shunshin, henge, kawarimi, summoning, he thought that was it. Out of those Shunshin was most likely. But the intruder had to have come in after Kakashi-sensei left or Kakashi would have sensed him. He hadn't thought he was so bad at sensing that he missed someone sneaking past him and into his room. He looked at what was out of place and almost had a heart attack. His drawings. The bundle looked thinner. He snapped it open to see the damage done and gritted his teeth to see that several pictures were missing. Damn. It was being such a good day as well. Kakashi summoned Shiba at his leisure a while later. He materialized with a muffled bark. Yo, find anything interesting? Grumruff. Kakashi kindly took the bundle of papers out from Shiba's mouth. Thanks boss, this was some of the few interesting things there. Everything else was normal except for the amount of ramen. Sheesh boss, packets like you wouldn't believe. Kakashi chuckled, gave the dog a biscuit and dispelled him. He sat back down to examine the documents. He uncurled them and to his surprise they were pictures in pencil and crayon. He didn't feel bad for stealing from his student, maybe this would motivate Naruto into making some better traps. A man with 2 tentacles. A red-headed boy with a kanji for love. A spiraling orange mask. The moon. Kakashi sighed. Shiba had just picked up some childish scribbling which he mistook for important as Ninken needed more training. The Hokage sat in front of his desk puffing on his pipe. The Jonin milled around chatting until the break finished. The popular gossip this time was which teams had passed or failed. The poor Jonin needed some entertainment which wouldn't result in widespread destruction. Kakashi slipped through the crowd and met up with his usual group. My eternal rival graces us with his presence. Guy bellowed out, the light sparkling off his teeth. Genma just raised a hand in greeting, yo. Ibiki inclined his head while Asuma and Kurenai grunted and smiled respectively. You're here finally. Ibiki grunted. The meeting started an hour ago. Kakashi smiled under his mask. Did I miss all the long speeches on duty and joy of teaching? Hell yes, Asuma looked particularly annoyed. As Hokage's son he'd had to be there for everything. Kurenai tapped her knee thoughtfully, what are your kids like this time Kakashi? Kakashi rubbed his chin sourly, I got a visionary, an avenger and a fangirl. There was no need to say any more. Everyone understood. Kurenai laughed and Genma chuckled around his senbon. I'm sure their flower of youth will blossom if you actually give them a chance. Guy stressed minutely. Like it did for your team? Kakashi said pseudo-mockingly back. I laughed boomingly, my dear student Lee has enough youth for the whole team 3 times over. Speaking of which I heard you got saddled with a genin team this year Ibiki. Genma drawled wickedly, how do you think it'll feel like to hold the brat's hands through your workstation? Ibiki chuckled, I'm sure it'll be fine. They'll have Genma-sensei too to look up to and annoy. What? Came the furious reply, oh hell no, I am not looking after your brats for any amount of time. The Hokage cut everyone off as he stood and tucked away the last document. Now assemble Jonin, we need to officially recognize successful teams. Potential Jonin-sensei lineup. Kakashi got in line with Genma to his left and Kurenai to his right. Echo Team 1 failed. Team 2 already fielding. Hyuga Team 3 failed. Nara. Team 4 failed. Morino. Team 5 passed. Slight murmurings. Akamichi. Team 6 failed. Haddock. Team 7 passed. The murmuring grew incredulous. Kakashi had actually passed a team. Some of them discreetly pinched themselves. Yuhi. Team 8 passed. The murmuring didn't die down. Team 9 already fielding. Saratobi. Team 10 passed. Shiranui. Team 11 failed. Will all Jonin-sensei please step up? The Hokage ordered. Rest of you stand down. Ibiki, Kakashi, Kurenai and Asuma stepped forward in unison. Jonin-sensei Ibiki Marino reporting. Ibiki said sharply, Team 5 consisting of Yumara Hashino, Shishui Raisaki and Kagura Miyake. They passed the mirror test in the end. Most likely an infiltration interrogation team. He stepped back. Jonin-sensei Kakashi Haddock reporting. Kakashi reported, the board tone gone, Team 7 consisting of Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno. They passed the bell test in the second stage. Most likely a frontline combat team. Jonin-sensei Kurenai Yuhi reporting. Kurenai spoke calmly, Team 8 consisting of Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburam. They passed the maze test satisfactorily. Most likely a tracking recon team. Jonin-sensei Asuma Saratobi reporting. Asuma said crisply, Team 10 consisting of Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akamichi. They passed the sun test efficiently. Most likely a capture interrogation team. 4 teams out of 9. The Hokage murmured pressing his fingers together, we have a good crop this year. Dismissed all of you, look after the next generation of the leaf with pride and dignity. You actually passed a team Kakashi. Genma raised both eyebrows, the kids must be something special. Kakashi rolled his eye good-naturedly, can I help it the genin are always too scared of me to flout my orders. The Jonin all shared a chuckle remembering the screams of terror and loud banging from Training Ground 7 from the previous years. The next morning when Naruto tumbled into Training Ground 7 for their first day as a team, Sakura and Sasuke double-taked. The orange jumpsuit was gone, leaving a dark orange shirt and black shorts rather like Sasuke's. When Naruto's hair was messed up and he was yawning like a cat, the boy looked adorable. Morning Sakura, Sasuke. Naruto got out between yawns. Good morning. Sakura nodded. HN. Sasuke allowed. It is isn't it? Naruto said agreeably well versed in Uchiha grunting. HN. Really? I preferred yesterday's myself. HN. Each to their own I suppose. Naruto shrugged ignoring Sakura's incredulous look. Hey wanna spar before Kakashi gets here? Kakashi-sensei kid. A voice corrected from the bushes. The 3 of them turned to see a dog walking out with a note tucked into its collar. The talking dog. Sakura repeated slowly, am I imagining things? The dog huffed, I'm a ninkin. Didn't they teach about summonings at the academy puppy? Puppy? Sakura mouthed. Your sensei's ninkin then. Sasuke spoke, does he have a message for us? Yup, puppies gather around. I'm packin' and here is the note. He held out the note between 2 claws to Naruto who took it delicately. Oh my cute little genin here read out loud, your job is to track me down to receive training. Good luck. This definitely hadn't happened before. Naruto grinned. This was great. He didn't even need to do anything to get more training. There's more on the back dope. Sasuke said suddenly. Naruto flipped it over and groaned. Yes. Naruto and Sakura will be blindfolded and Sasuke will not talk or else. The menacing tone somehow managed to be conveyed through the ink and paper. Pakin held up 2 pairs of scarves and some bandages unsympathetically. Sakura snatched them away. Pakin's mouth twitched. First day as genin and he does this. Sakura hissed, don't you agree Sasuke? HN, it's better than just teamwork exercises. Sasuke spoke reluctantly. Pass me the bandage, this is completely stupid, he couldn't have got one other than bright pink. Sasuke glared venomously at the offending piece of cloth. I refuse. I take it back. This is worse than teamwork exercises. Naruto coughed, do you want to go tell Kakashi that while we hunt for a nice spot for your grave? Sasuke glared at him before slamming them around his mouth and performing a henge very quickly. Sakura and Naruto shared a resigned look, their first in years, and quickly tied the blindfolds around their eyes. Complete blackness. Would be scary, but hey, he lived through war. Now what do? We can talk but can't see, Sasuke can't see but can't talk. Trading information is going to be hell. Naruto mused out loud. Mfma. Sasuke, that isn't going to work. Sakura said hesitantly. Use your grunts, team. Naruto said suddenly, I can understand them pretty well. Sasuke sighed, HN. He's asking if we know the leaf silent talking. Naruto told Sakura. Sasuke didn't say anything so he assumed it was correct. Pakin snorted with laughter. That's the one with fingers tapping, right? No, you? No. Naruto sighed, I do know some Morse if that helps. HN. A bit, the basics, nothing more than that. Sakura sighed. HN. Are you two or idiots, why am I on a team with you? This is working fine with Naruto translating me to Sakura. Naruto cocked his head and translated. I can't understand everything you say, team, remember that. But it could work. How can you understand Sasuke so well? Sakura asked curiously. Because I was on his team for months, was his mental reply. The Uchiha police used to look after me when I was younger. It was true kind of. He felt Sasuke stiffen ahead of him and kicked himself. They were good people. He continued. Sasuke stalked ahead, dark intentions rolling off him like mist. Man, Naruto had his own radar now going by Sasuke's killing intent. So a plan. How do we track down Kakashi-sensei? He said cheerily. Ask his friends. Check his haunts. HN. That is a good idea, grab him. Pakin was laughing so hard that he didn't even notice the Uchiha sneaking close and scooping him up and holding him so he couldn't struggle. Hey puppies. This is against the rules. Put me down. Right after you lead us to Kakashi-sensei. Naruto could practically hear the sharp smile in Sakura's words. The pious, I'm warning you, Akin, Naruto cut in, you lead us to Kakashi-sensei, we'll get you some nice roast beef. All warm and crackled and juicy. Hehe, advantages of being from the future. Pakin whined in consideration. I'll give you a clue, puppies, but you owe me that beef mind. Fine. Sakura agreed, what is the clue? He's not where he usually is. Goodbye, puppies, get Kakashi to summon me for my beef. Maybe I'll even let you touch my paw if you're good. Pakin dispelled himself, chuckling evilly in a way only dogs can. How on earth is that helpful? Sakura screamed. HN. Sasuke agreed darkly. Wahahaha. Naruto agreed. What's so funny, Naruto? Sakura asked, baffled, losing all of her wind. Oh my god, that was epic. I have to do that one day. Okay, cross these places off the list. Memorial Stonithitsid. That leaves the rest of Konoha Yubaka. Sakura shrieked, apparently having found her wind again. HN. Naruto thought for a bit, if you two are quite done, we can go ask some Jonin. I think that was where sensei is. Was that right? HN. Okay, Sasuke, which way? This way. Sakura started walking. No. NHN. We're done at the same time, Sakura. You're going to crash into the stumps. Sakura froze, thanks guys. HN. Turn around 50 meters forward, turn left, 25 meters, third on the right, 10 meters, second left, 30 meters, turn Cloquissa, slow down team. HN. Oh sorry, second on the right. Geez. Sasuke sighed in irritation before grabbing each of their arms and dragging them along the route, not caring if they stumbled or tripped or even dragged along the dust. He wanted training, damn it. Sasuke. Please a little more careful. The Mii. Go faster. Naruto was gleeful, Sasuke was going the work and he could relax. Sweet laziness, maybe Shikamaru had infected him more than he thought. His dream ended roughly as he dumped unceremoniously in front of a very noisy, very smelly place. Did you bring us to a bar? He asked seconds before Sakura. HN. He says obviously. Naruto grouched. Where are we? Sakura asked, brushing off her dress. HHHNN. Naruto. He got no clue. They stepped in cautiously. Sakura and Naruto using their feet to scout ahead. Their ears were ringing from the noise so they were pretty much helpless. Sasuke just grabbed them and dragged them in again. They walked in. Yes, so I tell her, mate, you need to get, and it goes kaboom. I have this excellent new toy. Hey, is that Cyclops' team? You who? Brats. Over here. Who is that? Sakura hissed, she sounds loud. Naruto was trying very hard not to break out crying, that's Anko. He hissed loud enough for Sasuke to hear too. She's crazy. The minute you see her reach for a kunai, duck. HN. I know because I'm awesome, damn it. Now stop questioning me. Naruto hissed. There was a whoosh of air in front of them. By Sasuke's stiffening and the sudden smell of wet snakes, Naruto guessed Anko had flickered in front of them out of patience. What was that? 10 seconds. New record possibly. Brats. I am the super sexy and single Anko Midarashi. And you must be the old geezer's team. Like the dango? Sakura ventured timidly. Exactly like the dango. The food of the gods. Anko literally drooled over the thought of her dango. You a fellow dango fan, Pinky? Why on earth are you and Blondie blindfolded? You broody, answer me. HN. He says he would love to but he can't at the minute. Naruto helpfully provided. Sasuke growled and started moving frantically. His best guess. Anko had grabbed him and smooshed their cheeks together. Always big bad Kakashi being mean to the poor little genin. I do like dango, yes. Sakura finally answered the question. Wei. From Sasuke's alarmed grunt, he had been tossed aside roughly. Good, let him know how that feels. With me, Pinky. And so Sakura was dragged away screaming. And Naruto was completely lost. Too much noise, too many scents, and for God's sake, could he find some sane person who didn't stink of alcohol? Silence from a corner on his far left. He would have killed for Sage Mote as he clattered his way over, knocking into bar stools, tables, and people. A few kind shinobi set him on the right path, but a few mean ones just spun him around laughing. Finally he collapsed in front of what he thought was the table of silence. Hi. He tried weakly. Hello. A slightly amused baritone replied. Ibiki his mind provided. Mister, do you know where Kaka-sensei is? He tried to employ his puppy dog eyes no jutsu even with a blindfold, but he suspected he miserably failed. No. Seriously, no idea where he could be? No. But you're his friend. Shinobis don't have friends. Eternal rival. Do I sound like guy to you, Brad? Please. Brad, I really have no idea. Okay, can you tell me his usual haunts? Why? We're trying to track him down, but I lost my teammates to some wild predators. He shrugged. Ask Guy, he usually has a radar for his eternal rival. God knows Kakashi has complained about it so many times. Know where Guy could be? Training field 9 or anywhere on the dirt track around Konoha. Just stand still and you'll eventually hear him. Now leave me in peace. Okay, thanks, mister. Oh wait. Can you point me in the direction of my teammates? Do an 8 o'clock. Thanks. Oh. Naruto's head smashed into a shinobi's sword. Sorry, kid. Hey, stop braining defenseless genin. Came an amused female voice as Naruto staggered away. I'm finarially. He murmured as he tracked Sasuke by his killer intent. He came to a halt beside his angry teammate. Sasuke, we need to leave. HN. Yes, I am telling you. Now where's Sakura? HN. Sasuke dragged Naruto over. Oh, was that your default mode or something? Sakura. He hissed. Go away. I am talking to my new apprentice. Anko hit him over the head. He saw stars instantly. Ooh, pretty lights. Sasuke, save me. Squeaked Sakura. You know I could save you just fine. Naruto slurred from the floor. I think I'm getting drunk off the fumes, hehe. Sasuke shot him an alarmed look. His dad had regaled both him and that man with tales for years about a drunk bloody red habanero. Knowing his luck, the woman and his teammate would end up being related. Property damage did not begin to cover it. From Sakura's squeak, Naruto guessed Anko had hugged her tight. You can't have my new apprentice. She's adorable. HN. I agree with him, you are drunk. Of course I'm drunk, brats. I'm at a bar. We'll trade you. Naruto said suddenly, we'll talk Kakashi into letting Sakura hang out with you, in return you release Sakura to us. I can do that myself, maggots. Why do I need your help? HN. What he said. What did he say? I'm not fluent in Uchiha. Anko admitted. Kakashi will run in the opposite direction if he sees you coming. Naruto lied through his teeth. Hey, he was a shinobi, he could do that. Hey, Kakashi had told him he wanted Sakura and Anko to talk, this just got 2 objectives done at the same time, 3 if you counted his. That is true. Anko murmured, fine, I give you Cherry-chan, and you get Kakashi to agree. Done. Naruto announced, and there was a brief fumble as a blind genin and a drunk jonin tried to shake hands. Sakura was promptly released. Remember, maggots, I will. Watching Anko loomed before flickering away. Naruto. Sakura punched him. What did you just so? There was a hysterical note in her voice. Cherry-chan, why mean Sakura? Naruto backed up slowly as Sasuke huffed in amusement, I got you loose, and told her I would study under her. Sakura shrieked, are you insane? HN. See, even Sasuke agrees she's strong. You'll get wicked awesome in no time, Cherry-chan. Oh. Stop hitting me. What did she talk to you about anyway? Naruto, you idiot. Mostly uses of poisons, baka. Dango flavors, I can't believe you did that. How to kill someone with a dango stick. Even Sasuke looked a bit disturbed at that one. See, you'll be an awesome kunoichi. You can't learn how to be a kunoichi from Kaka-sensei, plus stop hitting me. He squeaked. Fine. Sakura grudgingly stopped. I suppose she is confident and strong. Sasuke coughed into his fist. HN. Yes. I do have a plan. We have to find Guy-sensei, he should know where Kaka-sensei is. Know where he should be? Yeah, training ground 9 or on the dirt track around Konoha. Don't worry, it's easy to track him. Why? You know the background shouting you always drown out. It's him. Oh wow. Sasuke lead the way. HN. You kind of are our delivery service, Sasuke. Jerry-chan, you can understand him. Kakashi meanwhile was having fun rifling through the academy's records. Mr. Haddock, what are you looking for? And confusing the cute Chunin teacher, of course. Anything and everything. He pulled out records from the very start of his student school lives. Iruka looked so baffled. If you want records on Sakura, Sasuke and Naruto, I do have them all categorized in a separate folder. Kakashi froze. Why? I do it for every genin team just in case. It finally paid off. Kakashi leapt to his feet, noting he was about a head taller than the teacher. What? He analyzed everyone. It didn't mean anything. You're amazing. I smiled and let the baffled teacher lead him to the huge stacks of folders. Mr. Haddock, I sent a copy to your house. Kakashi's mind stopped. Chunin knew where he lived. Why? How? How had he missed the delivery? What if other people found out where he lived? Oh yeah, he was camping over at Genma's until the blood from the latest assassin got out of the walls. That explained why the Chunin was so confused. How did you? I asked Mr. Mito to drop it off. His mind stopped coming up with gruesome scenarios. The Chunin turned big innocent eyes to him, which really hid a sneaky evil manipulative personality. Kakashi was sure no one was that nice. How are they? They're fine. On a training exercise at the minute. Oh good. The Chunin pulled out a heavy folder. Kakashi eyed it in trepidation. Why is it so big? Blame Naruto. The Chunin said dryly, there's Sasuke's psych evaluations too. Sakura was the golden girl. Kakashi took the folder and flicked through it and grimaced. Mr. Haddock. Kakashi, he interrupted, we're fellow shinobi here. Kakashi, my class is coming in. You want a seat at the back? Gods, the man sounded so nervous talking so casually to him. He considered, why not? Can't make it too hard for them. He plopped down in one of the undersized chairs, his feet splayed out as he spread documents over the tiny table. He could use the chance to evaluate the academy. He told himself very firmly he wasn't watching the Chunin. Tiny brats filtered in. They were even smaller than his kids, they were so cute at that age, he mused. Very not covered in blood and mud and very not jaded from killing too early. A Hyuga flounced up to him. You're in my seat. She told him primly, who had to fight back a laugh. I don't see a seat. He looked around teasingly. You've covered it with your papers and body. The girl hissed. You mean my seat? Finders keepers. The tiny Hyuga stomped her tiny foot, but it had my name on it. He turned around and sure enough there was a neat Hanabi Hyuga sticker on it. He produced a pen from his pocket, showed the kid and proceeded to write his name next to hers. There, it's got my name on it now. I smiled at her, who looked aghast. You can't do that. She pouted. Hanabi, sit down. Iruka barked from the front, take the seat next to Konohamaru. The girl glared at him and stomped off. He waved cheekily at her back before turning his attention back to the documents. He cast a light genjutsu on them to stop the kids from seeing what he was doing. Sakura, very good chakra control, good for genjutsu, really. Maybe when she wasn't so obsessed over Sasuke. Excellent theory, maybe he could push her down the Fuinjutsu route. Less than average stamina, speed and endurance guy was his solution to everything given, though it disturbed him greatly. Personality vid fangirlo. Rivalry with Yamanaka, what with Sasuke again. He was definitely getting Anko to talk with the girl. Konohamaru. Put that water balloon down. The sensei's voice brought him back to the classroom just in time to see a chalk missile bounce off a boy's forehead with unerring accuracy and power. The boy yelped and rubbed at it. Iruka-sensei. Pay attention to the board. You will need to know how to do the hinge. Yes, sensei. The boy slumped down, but the mischievous twinkle didn't die down. He felt sorry for the poor Chunin. Naruto just left and Konohamaru arrived. Okay, since some of you obviously understand, line up. We'll try to do the hinge again. The children grumbled and shot glares at Konohamaru, who just laughed them off. Kakashi's lips twitched. If he read the boy correctly, this would be an amusing experience. Who should we try to do, sensei? A girl piped up. Iruka just nodded at Kakashi. Everyone turned to look in unison. Kakashi just waved and smiled. He's so strange. A boy complained. It'll give you practice with unusual people. Iruka retorted. Thanks, sensei. Kakashi went dryly in his head. The first few attempts were dreadful. Kakashi just looked back down to avoid himself the humiliation and pain his image was going through at the hands of the children. Sasuke top and all of his class, no surprise there. Oh wait, he was second in two. Trap making in history, taken by Naruto and Sakura respectively. Interesting. Maybe he should nudge Sasuke down the medical route if he could spin it to sound like he'd have a better chance against Itachi. Yes, that idea had merit, it would hopefully thaw him out saving lives and tie him to Konohamaru. Excellent stamina, speed and power didn't really tell him anything. Personality breeding was that the best word they had for it. The Hyuga girl's voice jerked his attention back. Henge. A picture-perfect henge of Kakashi. He was somewhat impressed with the way she had arranged the crinkles in his clothing to read out, "I am a jerk." Very good, Hanabi. Haruka said approvingly. Next. Konohamaru stepped up. Get ready, sensei. Both Kakashi and Haruka felt the same foreboding of doom at the same time. Henge. The smoke cleared to reveal a pretty brown-haired girl cooing at Haruka-sensei with the smoke in strategic places, only to scream in outrage when Haruka had his back firmly turned. The henge dispelled. Haruka's voice was strained, "You're not the first one to pull that on me. And where did you learn such a trick?" He whirled around, causing Konohamaru to meep and try to hide. Kakashi was very amused at the antics of both Naruto and Konohamaru. He pitied whoever got Konohamaru in the future as a student. Naruto. Haruka screamed in frustration, "Even when he's graduated he's still causing me grief." The girls meanwhile converged on the pale Konohamaru, cracking their fists. Kakashi tuned out the sweet sounds of a brawl and went back to his documents. Naruto dead last or near dead last in everything but trap setting. Good to see pranking has some benefits. And Lee failed stealth because jumpsuit gave him a weight that shouldn't be a problem. Animera nearly always late Maturio a note saying he mastered both henge and kawarima, had seen the henge mastery but not kawarimi mastery. Excellent endurance, average speed and pitiful execution. Oh dear. Person litigating how Lavalu wrote this of the traitor Chunin. If Sakura would be the genjutsu and fuinjutsu person, Sasuke the healer and ninjutsu, then Naruto had to do the taijutsu and demolitions. He had a feeling he was making an awful mistake with demolitions, but he clamped that down. He shifted and 3 sheets fluttered down. He picked them up. 3 copies of their ninja registration. A Pinket, Raven and Redeed with what? He flicked to the Redeed's form. Naruto Uzumaki was apparently a redhead with pale skin and blue lips. What was it with Naruto and redheads? According to his file, he hadn't shown inclination to this kind of forward thinking at all. So he hid this way. Did he want to be the dead last to get on Sasuke's and Sakura's team? The file did mention a one-sided crush on the girl. A crush had seen no evidence for. Perhaps he just didn't want persecution for the Kyuubi, but he didn't know about the Kyuubi until a few days ago. The Chunin in front of him was there round about the change in Naruto should have taken place. He narrowed his eye at the Chunin and saw him fidget slightly before barking out next. The hunt was on and he didn't intend to lose. HNN. Training round 9. So this is what it sounds like. Loud clangs of metal off metal, things whistling through the air, wood cracking, ground tearing, loud voices, thumps and bumps, and every so often the tearing of feet. "I think we found Team 9. Sakura whispered, slightly intimidated. "Hello?" Naruto called out cheerfully. Lee, Neji and Tenten had been excellent friends in the future after Neji got his ass handed to him. "Yosh. We have visitors, Guy-sensei." Lee's voice rang out and the noise didn't exactly stop, it just toned down slightly. "Are you looking for someone?" Judging from the volume, Lee had jogged up to them and was now directly in front of them. "Our sensei." Sakura said calmly, "We were hoping your sensei might be able to help us." "You're Lee, right?" Naruto bounced forward and nearly collided with Lee. "Yes. It's great finally meeting you. Naruto Uzumaki, fellow dead last of the year after you, I heard all about you." "Yosh. A fellow follower of hard work and youth." "Hard work, yeah, youth not so much." He patted Naruto. "Your youth will blaze to the skies. Who is the youthful flower behind you and the silent boy?" Naruto pointed in what he hoped was the right direction, Sakura and Sasuke. "Sakura, will you go out with me? I'll protect you until the day I die." Sakura stopped, this time she couldn't see Lee and therefore couldn't reject him on his appearance. I have someone else like," she steeled herself, "I'd rather be able to protect myself on my own abilities." Talking to Anko, who ranted on about weak kunoichis, had altered her outlook slightly. "Great. Tenten here, fellow kunoichi, and can I say it is great to meet another serious kunoichi." A female voice cut in cheerfully and dragged away Sakura, "Let's talk." Lee pouted from the sounds of it. "It's nice to meet you, Sasuke." He said politely, "How does your youth do?" "HN. Don't take it personally, he can't talk at the minute." Naruto intervened quickly, "He says it's nice to meet you back." Sasuke hadn't but a white lie never heard anyone. "Oh. A training exercise, that is so youthful. And you thought Guy-sensei could track down his eternal rival?" "Exactly." Naruto grinned. "Asking for help is a weak thing to do." Niji's voice smoothly cut in, "However, it isn't a surprise you need the help, maybe it is your fate." "You are?" Niji Hyuga. "Nice to meet you." Naruto said politely. Oh great, this Niji still had his fate obsession. Is it really fate when you don't know what else could have happened? Nothing else could have happened. Niji returned calmly, that is why it is fate. Kakashi's youthful students. Hello. A deeper voice boomed out. What brings you here? Sensei. Naruto asked, seeing that Sakura had been effectively hauled off somewhere again and Sasuke was probably too busy rechecking his eyes to greet the man. Yosh. It is I. How can I help you? Sensei. They were wondering if you could tell them where Kakashi-sensei was. Lee burst out. Of course. My eternal rival is always on my radar of Youth Academy Classroom 3A backseat. Team 7 stared at him. They had not expected when he said radar, he actually meant radar. Thanks. Naruto strangled out. That is amazing, by the way, can you teach us? Eternal rival's secret, I'm afraid. Damn. Thanks, we'll just go now. Sakura fell over trying to get back to her team. Tenten guided her back kindly, thanks. Sasuke. Forward march. HN. Sakura giggled, you can rip his head off later, Sasuke, we need him for training. Goodbye, youthful comrades. Lee's goodbye resonated in all their ears before the noisy team started back up again. Sasuke grabbed his teammates and began to drag them in the academy's direction. If he didn't move Naruto out of the way of a stone, it certainly wasn't his fault. Kakashi lounged in his seat. He put his feet up on the desk, ignoring the disapproving look of the Chunin. Teacher so rigid of them. That's why he resolved to be the laziest and most easygoing teacher he could be, unless he got annoyed, of course, or he wanted to drum a lesson in his kids' heads. On paper he had one of the most mismatched teams in history. In reality it was probably true. He was going to get gray hairs with this team, he was sure. Suddenly the door banged open and his cute genin all tumbled in a pile. Sasuke's muffled grunts drowned out by Sakura's shriek. Naruto immediately turned his head in Kakashi's direction. Sensor. Hey. We found you. He said happily, only to get yanked up by the ear by Iruka-sensei. Iruka-sensei. Haven't seen you in forever. Naruto. Iruka whispered, deathly calm, you graduated. Why are you back and disturbing my class? Naruto pointed directly at him. Yup, definitely a censor. HN. What he said. Sakura groaned as she climbed off the genin pile. Boss. Konohamaru exclaimed excitedly. The academy students burst into chatter at this. Konohamaru. Keeping up the good work. Exactly like you would have done, boss. Fantastic. Like cute little students. He pitched his voice to carry across the chattering children, training exercise complete. You can remove your limitations now. I smiled at the sheer speed they removed them. Mr. Kakashi. Please take your genin far away from here. Iruka seemed like he was going to snap any second. Before they give my students ideas. Good idea. He told the flustered Chunin, see you later. He shunshin out, taking all 3 of his genin with him. He dumped them all in training ground 7 as he landed smoothly. Sakura mission report. She scrambled up and began to tell a story. He shook his head and calmly began to coach them how to do a proper report. He had his work cut out. Chapter 4. Disclaimer. Don't own Naruto. What is the distance to the target? 5 meters. I'm ready anytime. So am I. Crackle fizz pop. Naruto. You're slow. Sorry, sensei, was working on a plan. Kakashi thought for a second. Should he let Naruto implement his plan? Why not? They'd learn the horrors of Tora soon enough. Okay, Naruto, go for it. We'll herd the cat towards Yago. Sasuke and Sakura shot out of the undergrowth and made a beeline for the demon. Naruto tensed inside his cage made out of henge cage bunshin. He would have to be incredibly fast. The demon yowled and caught scent of the hunt and immediately bolted. Sasuke, out of patience with the evil thing, began the seals for a fireball, but a senbon grazing his hand put that idea out of his head as he glared at the lounging Kakashi in the trees. It's getting away. Kakashi warned. The demon streaked across the dry clumped earth too fast for the genin to hope to catch. But not too fast for Naruto's cage bunshin hinged as a wire to dispel and warn the original that the demon approached. Sakura threw shuriken to stop it from bypassing Naruto, and finally the demon entered Naruto's line of vision. He had done most of the seals already, and he quickly finished the final seal. Powerimi. The cat ran full tilt into reinforced layers of henge cage bunshin. It almost dispelled all the layers, so Naruto hurriedly formed new layers around it to stop it from escaping again. It screamed inside the cage as Naruto grinned at it from outside. Oh, isn't the little kitty cute? A paw lashed out through the bars and mauled his cheek open. Oh, don't taunt the hen bunby dope. Sasuke commented wearily. Sakura on the other hand, cute. What on earth is your definition of cute? Kakashi drawled into his receiver, are you sure it is the target, Tora? Sasuke replied, yeah, we're sure. Good. Lost pet Tora search mission complete. Now get it back before it bursts too many layers and escapes. Nai. The cat screamed as it was snuggled up to Madame Shinji's face. They even almost felt sorry for it. Oh my cute little Tora-chan. I was so worried. Naruto leant back to hiss, see, she agrees it's cute. Everyone stared at him in disbelief. He couldn't in good faith call Tora a demon anymore. The Hokage met and pulled out a list of D ranks. Now Kakashi's Squad 7, your next duty is babysitting an elder's grandson, shopping in the neighboring village, and help with the potato digging. Naruto sniffed the air. A faint smell of sake, it was time for the C rank from hell. He needed to make a decision in the next 5 seconds. To go or not to go. Sasuke got his Sharingan, which was the start of a whole lot of woe, but it strengthened their resolves as ninja. Ah hell, he liked Zabuza and Haku. No. Can't we have a better mission? I mean genin can take C ranks too. His team let out a sigh behind him. You idiot. You're just a rookie. Iruka yelled, all ninjas start off low and work their way up. Yes. But how are we meant to test ourselves on D ranks? Time how long it takes to weed a flower bed. D ranks are perfect for rookie ninja like you. They are sorted on difficulty levels after all. Kakashi bopped Naruto on the head, I apologize for him. I haven't covered protocol yet. He sighed. I'm not the troublemaking brat you think I am. Naruto said softly. Iruka closed his eyes in defeat as the Hokage slowly nodded. Okay, since you want it that much. Kakashi's eye widened, surely he wasn't giving them a mission outside the village. Their combat ability wasn't up to par yet. And the Kyuubi may be influencing Naruto. To be fair, the Hokage had no way of knowing that since Kakashi hadn't reported it like he should have. It's the protection of a certain individual. Who is it? Sakura asked curiously. I'm about to introduce Yaoi, will you come in here? What's this? They're all a bunch of super brats. Especially the shortest one with the super stupid looking face. Are you really a ninja? Hey. Tazuna leant against the door with his familiar bottle of sake. Naruto's smile strained. Don't hate it cause you can't have it. He borrowed one of Fu's expressions to quip back at Tazuna. The Hokage started wondering if he had made a mistake. I am the super expert bridge builder Tazuna. I expect you to provide me with super good protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge. Tazuna ignored Naruto as did everybody else. Don't worry. Naruto couldn't help but dig, we're perfectly capable of taking care of some bandits. From Tazuna's little squirm he hit the guilt dead on. Alright team, meet up at the gate in an hour's time. Dismissed. Naruto turned to leave when suddenly the door flung open, nearly hitting him, and Ibiki came storming in. Hokage. Do you still have the wave mission? I just gave it to Team 7. The Hokage asked puzzled. Bump it to a high air rank. Orochimaru's been spotted in that area. Intel's just come in. Naruto's little dream world shattered with the sound of chiming bells. Orochimaru should be in the hidden sound. Why was he in wave? Sound was in the other direction. Something had gone wrong. He panicked mentally. Well, good thing was if it was an air rank, Tazuna would get the protection he needed legally this time, but what the hell? He hadn't changed that much to make freaking Orochimaru move across the world early. I'm sorry Team 7. I'll get you another C rank to do. Tazuna-san, we'll discuss payment options afterwards. The Hokage looked down at his list. Tazuna nodded and wandered away, with him the hope of a secure future. Naruto agonized over the development and what it meant for him. In the long term, probably nothing, but if Orochimaru was moving, Kakashi picked up that something was causing Naruto distress. You didn't get attached to that old man already, did you? We'll just get another C rank. He drawled, wheeling Naruto to face the Hokage. Well, Team 7, you have a choice. There's reports of a wild animal by a small village near Tenzaki-gai, or you can give Tora a bath. Wild animal? Team 7 shrieked. I thought so too. Here's the mission details, Kakashi. Dismissed. Kakashi scanned it, right, my cute students, East Gate at 1 hour. Pack for 2 weeks at most. He jumped out of the window muttering about something. Why do I even bother installing a door? The Hokage threw his arms up. Team 7 met up by the gates. Well, most of Team 7. Their sensei was nowhere to be seen. Naruto sighed and turned to Sakura and Sasuke and thrust leaves in their direction. The exercise for fire is to burn one side while leaving the other side unburnt. The exercise for lightning is to cause the leaf to crumple. Have fun, you guys. From the glint in his eye, Sasuke and Sakura understood they were in for some trying times. He went back to trying to cut his leaf in half. It had a pretty decent shaped cut, more than halfway, since he already knew the trick. Where on earth was he going to find a waterfall after this? Yo. Kakashi sauntered over, good, you're all here. You're late. Sakura shrieked. I'm not late, you're just ridiculously early. Kakashi sniffed. You lot know which direction Tenzaki-gai is? Naruto pointed in the correct direction absent-mindedly while trying to finish cutting the damn leaf. That's correct, Naruto. Kakashi said cheerfully, right, there's a mysterious animal yada yada, we have to kill it, any questions? Yes. How does it terrorize the villagers? Sasuke asked. Kakashi turned to him, it kills their children. He said simply, one every night. No one seen it, just heard it, he described it as a cracking sound. He loomed over them, the light flickering on his face ominously. "This is a C rank?" Sakura asked incredulously, mysterious monsters carrying off children. Kakashi slouched back, "Ma, don't fret Sakura, it's probably a wild bird of some sorts going after the smallest prey. Shuriken and kunai will bring it down, and you'll have a chance to practice your dynamic aiming, since all of you are terrible at that." Well, Naruto thought, it was better than the training Kakashi drilled into them in the last week. Highlights included strapping Sakura to a fan which randomly shot Senbon, throwing her to fly on the wind currents, then telling Naruto and Sasuke to shoot her down without hurting her. They mostly spent the time dodging their own missiles as they fell back to the earth after missing and listening to a swearing screaming Sakura. Anko really rubbed off on her. Then Sakura crashed into a bird, how on earth was that possible? And went smashing down on the two of them. Then there was Blind Man's Bluff with freaking landmines. All three of them wound up in the hospital with Kakashi lecturing them and generally terrorizing the hospital staff. Training Ground 7 would always have a barren spot in the middle of all the trees in memorandum. Then Kakashi thought it would be fun to set the Anbu trainees on them to see their speed under motivation. Konoha was treated to the strange sight of 3 rookie genin in crutches, leaping out of a hospital window and hightailing it out of there, while 7 white blurs chased them with tantos. After that it was quite low-level stuff with teamwork exercises of course, it had them all as taut as a wire, wondering when and where the next attack would be from. They tiptoed everywhere, they didn't even dare to breathe too loudly, and after the 3rd day when they began to relax Kakashi came after them with a battle axe while lecturing them on the shinobi code so they couldn't even run away and hide. The last 2 days were absolutely terrifying. Kakashi had handed them off to Ankono said. He really thought Team 7 had bonded this time around. Kakashi clapped his hands, "Okay, show me your packs people." Sasuke went first, 2 changes of clothes, kunai, shuriken, sleeping bag, tent, some food, some utensils and a med kit. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, med kit. "I'd rather not come back in pieces and Sakura's too busy with her scribblings." Sakura looked a bit sheepish. Kakashi had introduced her to sealing the week before as a way to seal explosions, it was the primary reason they weren't all dead from Blind Man's Bluff. Since she was too busy with sealing, Sasuke had been forced to pick up the slack with the medical knowledge. Naruto had offered, but Sasuke had almost snapped his head off in refusing. "Fair enough, Sakura. 2 changes of clothes, wire, senbon, a sealing book, sleeping bag, food, rudimentary poisons kit and some utensils." Kakashi held up the makeup box. "Rudimentary poisons kit. Nice. Anko's work." "Yup, she also gave me this." Sakura pointed to the glittery butterfly brooch in her hair. Everyone had winced upon seeing it. "Anko gave you that monstrosity?" Kakashi repeated slowly, "Was the sky still blue?" In response Sakura pulled on the body revealing it to be a small blade. "It's for last-ditch protection apparently, I didn't get what she meant by that." She admitted. "I'll get someone to explain afterwards." Kakashi quickly changed the subject, "Naruto. 2 changes of clothes, kunai, sleeping bag, food, exploding tags, every type of bomb I could get my hands on and some utensils." Kakashi gingerly held up some dynamite. "Isn't this going a bit too far?" Naruto snatched it away and hugged it like a teddy bear, "It's protection." "Well, let it be known I am not always not nice. Who am I to take away your protection?" "Okay team, pack back up again and we'll move out." Kakashi was watching their reactions carefully, this would be their first times of stepping outside Konoha. It was quite sweet to watch the rookie genin's expressions apparently. Sasuke was as blank-faced as ever and glaring at a leaf. Octet was in profile. Sakura was clasping her hands together and glaring at them. Was she praying? And Naruto looked 5 seconds from using his dynamite on whatever was in his hand. Note. Put in Naruto's profile, the title "Most Unpredictable Ninja" really suits him. Another tick in the all jonin are liars column. He sighed and resigned himself to a quiet trip all the way there, he pulled out his book and flipped to his favorite chapter. Note. When the Toad Sannin came over, ask him about any new releases. Bang. He whirled around, kunai at the ready. How had an enemy snuck on them? His students. He'd kill them all. Sasuke and Sakura stood stock still with shocked expressions and singed faces. Naruto was rolling on the ground with laughter. He sighed and drooped, tucking away his kunai. He asked if they were planning to give away their location to everyone in a mile's radius. "Elemental practice?" he asked amused. "You do know that's a chunin level skill all 3 of you are trying?" "Yes." Sasuke spoke. "Then what elements?" Kakashi wasn't proud, PSSH who would be? His genin working hard on their own to develop a skill. "Fire for me, lightning and fire for Sasuke and wind for Naruto." Sakura answered. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, "Dual naturest, it's rare." "Wind's also rare in this parts of the world. We're a very offensive-orientated team seeing I'm lightning. At least no element can overpower all of us, well if you work out the basic exercises." "Can you tell us about elemental natures sensei?" Naruto asked curiously, he never had the full version explained before. Kakashi kept reading and started to drawl in a bored tone. The 5 basic elemental natures are fire, water, earth, lightning and wind. There are 2 more yang and yin, those are involved in the non-elemental jutsus, but it's rare for non-clan kids to have them. The order I said is the wheel of chakra domination, but wind beats fire. That's only if they're of equal strength, otherwise a stronger fire can beat a weaker water, understand? And so forth. The lands of fire, wind and so forth are named for the most populous chakra types, so most common in Konoha is fire. They tend to accumulate in the areas they are most dangerous, in a forest fire is unparalleled in destruction. In the desert, wind can strip meat from bones in seconds, you get the idea. Most shinobi master only 2 elements with a passing ability in a third. A mastery in 4 elements is worthy of an S-ranked idol. He took a breath and started talking about combining 2 elements to form other elements. Like Hyutin and Mokutin? Sakura asked. Exactly. Sasuke, can you combine your 2 natures? Sakura asked curiously. He shook his head, could do at a higher level. He murmured thoughtfully. Hey. Between us we have Scorch, Blaze and Magnet Release. Naruto exclaimed happily. Kakashi bopped him lightly, if you can get your chakra transformations to work. He stressed the if in response. Naruto held up a bisected leaf, eyes glinting happily. Kakashi was stunned silent. How long had he been working on this? It took months on the first stage. This was prodigious. How was Naruto the dead last again? Ah. Came the pleased sound from Sakura as she held up a burning leaf on one side. Everyone's jaws dropped. She had literally 15 minutes. Naruto was trying not to let his jaw hit the ground, it was understandable for him. He had done this before and knew the trick, and it still took him several days. Sakura had done in it freaking 15 minutes. Kakashi was trying hard not to cackle with glee, a team of ninjutsu prodigies. Oh how Kami loved him. That was some serious chakra control. Oh? Naruto choked out. It was easy, following the first explosion I knew how much chakra to use, and the only tricky part was changing it to fire. It was pretty easy restricting the actual fire itself, it's my chakra after all. Sakura preened under the attention. Naruto felt like crying, please let Sasuke take a long time. Here. Sasuke said simply as he held up a crumpled leaf. Everyone had just finished picking up their jaws and they dropped again. I already knew how to change my chakra to fire, it's pretty easy to change it to lightning after that. How long did it take you to change to fire? Kakashi asked in a strained voice. A week. Naruto face planted then grinned. His team was awesome. You guys, it takes months of work to do the first stage. Kakashi choked out. I guess we're special. Sasuke had a pleased glint in his eye. No one missed the we term he used. Kakashi chuckled, okay my cute students, next exercise for you. Naruto, infuse the air with your chakra and try to create air currents to control the flight of leaves. Sakura, create a small fireball and change the shape of it. Sasuke, try and zap passing insects. Yes, he skipped several training stages, but he was curious, sue him. From the curious look Naruto shot him, he had noticed too. All the way to Tanzaki guy there were just noises of pure frustration behind Kakashi. He smiled at the half-strangled scream Sakura did before snapping his book shut. Okay team. The village is now off the road. Follow me and do not get lost. Team 7 gazed at the veritable jungle off the track and gulped. Arch trees looped off into the distance, the vines and shadows creating unusual arsing shadows like half-sickle cuts in the greenery. I rescind my skepticism about there being a mysterious monster out of a horror story and now ask why there aren't several monsters every week. Sasuke snarled as they fought their way through tough tangled vines. Sakura tripped for the 1000th time, got absolutely fed up and turned to Naruto. Naruto. Blow us a path to kingdom come. Brilliant idea. Naruto had the dynamite out faster than Kakashi could stop him, but the water jutsu from his mouth prevented the blonde from doing anything rash. No blowing up the forest. He chided. It's only 2 more hours walk. You can handle it. The triple look of horror was worth all the twigs in his hair. A long 2 hours later, 3 thoroughly scratched, battered and irritated genin collapsed on the outskirts of a strange village. Their pristine sensei except for the hair hauled them back up again and mostly prodded and poked them into crossing the salt boundary line. Salt? Naruto asked curiously. Aye lad. A stocky woman jumped over a small precipice to land in front of them. Salt keeps it away. Burns it with a single touch. You're the shinobi we asked for. Yes. Kakashi answered, I'm Kakashi and these are Sasuke, Sakura and Naruto. What exactly is the problem? My name is Hilgride, problem is there's a beast lurking beyond the line. Every night it steals a child. She spat on the ground and every morning we find the poor bugger on the path. There's a path. Naruto picked up, there's a path, he glared accusingly at Kakashi. Hilgride looked at him strangely, of course there's a path. There always is a path. Sasuke asked sharply, how does it steal? Hilgride was looking worried, I hadn't expected kids. You might have brought them into danger, Mr. Kakashi. No lad, it can't cross the salt line. No one knows how it steals, there's just silence, then an awful cracking starts up, and when it stops the child is gone. Kakashi furrowed his brows, so we're dealing with a monster whom you haven't seen, is allergic to salt and lures its prey out. Don't worry about the danger, any of them lowers their guard enough to be taken, and I'll go after them with a vengeance. The three genin exchanged wide-eyed looks. What did you mean on the path? What state? Sakura piped up. I meant Hillgride looked troubled, they're like thick pancakes. Huh? Was the general reaction. Crispy? No lad, more like no more than 1 inch thick splattered across the dirt. Sakura went green. Kakashi's eye widened. They're not missing any body parts. Haven't been eaten or anything. Hillgride answered dryly, it's a bit difficult to check, Master Shinobi. Of course. Sakura turned to Kakashi, this is a C rank. Kakashi too was frowning, you mentioned none of this in the report. Sure we did. Got one of our best writers and everything to write that request. Kakashi face palmed, I think I know what happened. Right, yeah, that makes sense. What? Sasuke asked. Hillgride sighed, having realized too, they thought the poor country bumpkins were exaggerating and didn't believe us. I'll fix that as soon as I get back. Kakashi had a dangerous gleam in his eye. You're not staying. Well, don't go back now, it's getting dark. Don't tell us, things move in the dark. Sasuke said sarcastically. No, have great pumpkin soup. Hillgride shrugged, and hopefully you'll feel indebted to protect the kids for a night. The shinobi shot her an amused look, not even going to try and make it subtle. Hillgride took one look over the striking team and smirked, I got the feeling you guys don't do subtle. Naruto was intrigued by all the mystery around the beast. His C-rank luck had stayed true, it wasn't a C-rank anymore, not with the pancake kids. He didn't know what to expect him, that was slightly scary and disturbing. Hillgride held up the flap to a big tent, they entered to a big communal-style kitchen, where the fire sparked and smoked over teams of loud people chatting over food at benches. Are you the leader of the village? Sakura asked Hillgride curiously. No ass, that would be Paranel over there. She was too busy with the frightened kids to come greet you in person. Paranel. The fierce-looking woman looked up from the gaggle of children and grinned savagely. Hillgride. These the shinobi they sent. She handed the kids off to a startled man and wound her way over. HMMF, gotta say, except for the tall one you don't look like much. Appearances are deceiving. Naruto replied smoothly. But they are, lad, that they are. I'm Paranel, that's all you need to know, leader of this spry little cesspit. Welcome to home. She grinned, showing elongated canines. Yo. I'm Kakashi and these are my cute genin Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura. We offer protection for the night in exchange for food. Hillgride coughed, there was an accident with the request, they're not qualified for this. Well, that's idiotic. Paranel said bluntly, I just managed to calm the kids down by saying there would be someone along to get rid of the thing. They get all upset, you have to calm them down. She pointed at the assembled shinobi who nodded very quickly. HMMF, help yourselves to grub, sit anywhere. We keep the kids under a very close eye in the hall. We don't let them out until morning, but one of them always eludes us. She hissed. A mysterious cracking. Kakashi delicately raised a silver eyebrow. No, the double dares with melted raspberry on top. Everyone stared at the woman. Of course, the mysterious cracking. How many exits are there? Sasuke asked. Just the one. Hillgride inputted slightly sheepishly. Then how on earth are they eluding you? Naruto asked incredulously. Paranel rolled her eyes, and why do you think we hired shinobi in the first place? We don't know and we don't like it. There's been 9 killings so far and we rather there not be a 10th. Her voice dropped impossibly low. Kakashi nodded, Sakura ceiling traps, Naruto traps, Sasuke go intimidate the kids. I'll go scout for a bit. They blinked and he was gone in a flash of silver and navy. Past. Paranel remarked admiringly. Sakura excused herself to go scribble on her paper in a corner. Naruto himself was free until the majority of the hall cleared out and he had the room and the security to create his traps. Sasuke did not look happy with his job one bit. Team? He dropped into place beside Sasuke, good cop bad cop. Sure. Sasuke said relieved, children are annoying. You're a child. It slipped out and Naruto cursed himself. Sasuke glared at him. And you're not? He asked waspishly. I'm as much of a child as you are. Naruto said at last. Sasuke shot him a veiled look then smirked. HN. Hey. I have you to fix me up, don't I? I was surprised though, I didn't think you'd go for the medical stuff. I don't exactly have a choice, do I? Sakura would have been perfect, she was. Naruto mused, 2 medics on one team could be useful, but Kakashi had her hooked on bloody seals. And there is no way in hell I am letting you heal me. I can be a good healer. He objected. He grew Kakashi's eye back, didn't he? Sasuke snorted, not even the sage of the 6 paths could make you a healer, dope. And was promptly baffled as Naruto rolled on the floor laughing. The idea of Sasuke as a healer was strange. He couldn't connect the cold brilliant future Sasuke with a healer career at all. And Sakura going into SEALs was similarly unexpected. It threw off the future immensely, but he didn't know whether he should change it back or not. Healer Sakura was ferocious, Sealer Sakura could be terrifying, especially going by some of the cackles he had heard her do. Rogue Sasuke was brilliant, Healer Sasuke could pose a problem in the frontline combat department. Then he remembered Itachi and winced, yeah, there was no way Sasuke was going to ignore his combat skills. With healing skills he actually stood a better chance against Itachi. He had tried talking to Sakura about healing, and she had nearly taken his head off in defense of SEALs. At least he had experience in making things explode. Sasuke twitched, get off the ground before I drag you up. Naruto rolled up still chuckling and waved at the scared children in the center. Hello. He called out cheerfully, I'm Naruto, this is Sasuke, we're going to protect you from the big bad beastie. Sasuke glowered down at them all, don't give us extra work. The group of about 11 children burst into tears. Even Sasuke looked startled at that reaction. I didn't mean. Shut up team, Naruto said absent-mindedly, hey don't cry. He's just a big grouch. He patted the smallest sobbing child on the back. The oldest child shot him a teary scathing look. We don't care about him. She bit out, the big bad beastie as you put it took our siblings, so don't you dare take it lightly. Tamaka, one of the boys, sniffed and clutched at her shirt. Naruto was taken aback. Oh right, just because he fought the Juubi and the legends of the shinobi world didn't mean he could afford to take wild beasts lightly. His face softened, these people had been terrorized by the animal, had to show respect. He couldn't be insensitive. I'm sorry, I swear we'll take care of this. No one is going to die tonight and I never go back on my word. That is my ninja way. He said with conviction, and the kids peered suspiciously at him. You're just a few years older than us. What on earth can you do? You're most likely going to be taken by the Panami Creech. And our village will just carry on being terrorized. A boy screamed at him. Let me dope. Surprised Naruto. Sasuke knelt down in front of the half-hysterical boy. You've lost family, right? Close family, good friends, you have seen them die and you're terrified. You don't want to die, but you don't want other people to die, understand? I do. My clan was killed and I saw it all afterwards. They asked me a question. Sasuke jabbed a boy in the chest. Do you want to live and grow strong in defiance, or do you want to curl up and scream at the world it isn't fair? I dedicated my life to become strong so that my clan could be avenged down to the last infant. Get vengeance for your dead, spite the beast by not giving it your fear. The boy hiccuped but was silent. You talk pretty, but words aren't going to fend it off. The girl said bluntly, ruining the atmosphere completely. Don't coddle us like we don't understand. They're dead and we don't want condescension. She stumbled over the last word. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged looks. Who's your mother? Paranel, it made perfect sense. Well shinobi, we know the village better than most of the hunters. How can we help? The girl's eyes blazed with determination behind the tears. You don't? Sasuke shot back bluntly, ruining the atmosphere again. Naruto shrugged, he's right. It's too difficult to keep tabs on you all if you're everywhere. We want to help. We're not children. Another girl piped up. Yes you are. Sasuke looked exasperated, you don't have the proper training and we don't know what is going on. Stay here. The children looked near crying again. Naruto cut in hurriedly, if you want to do something, draw us a map of the village with all the routes in and out and the forest surrounding it. He signaled to Sakura to send them some ink and paper. They got tossed in his direction indiscriminately. He handed them to the children and the girl rapidly took charge. Mera, draw the overall layout. Kusum, do the buildings, Takami, do the public routes. Asera, the secret routes. Rest of you chip in with what we've missed. Naruto hung back with Sasuke keeping a sharp eye on all of them. That was good what you said to them. He murmured. It gave them a purpose. Sasuke med, they needed a purpose. And we get information without having to work for it. There was a silence between them. Hot and sharp and obvious. There were too many secrets, resentments and misconceptions between them to truly become friends. Teammates were business first and foremost. Friends came later, if at all in their case. They had been a twisted mockery of a friendship, but the traveling had twisted it on itself for Naruto, and Sasuke had no idea what his future self had. Sakura walked up to them holding out 2 bowls of stew. They started. Did you forget to feed yourselves again? She said dryly, you're no use if you keel over out of hunger. Sorry Sakura. Naruto accepted the bowl. Sasuke nodded at her. What are we doing? Sakura looked interested. I have several barrier seals drawn up and 2 triggering ones. Anyone leaves we'll know. The story they gave is very fantastical. Sasuke finished sourly. A beast none of them have seen which carries off children and no one knows how. Eyes, ninjas blow fire, an invisible stealthy monster who squashes children can't be that improbable. Sakura commented quietly. Are there any records of such an animal in the library? Sakura, you should know. She blushed slightly, ah no. Camouflage is a possibility though. What squashes children to death? Only children. Naruto asked blankly. None. Sakura admitted, that's strange, animals and monsters have to eat. Exactly my cute little genin. A gloved hand sneaked in and stole some of their stew to form a new bowl. Kakashi leant against a table, dipping bread in the soup. Sensei. They exclaimed. He waved back idly, so down that train of thought. It doesn't eat humans, good for it, what can it eat? Whatever squashed the children was large, very large, going from the uniform thickness, but there aren't big enough animals around here for it to live off. Plant eater? Sasuke asked. Kakashi med. Probably not, it's a good idea, but most of the plants around here are poisonous. Really? Sakura perked up. Later Sakura, I'll show you how to gather some samples. So one food group left. Fish. Naruto slowly smiled, there has to be a river close by for a village or town to grow. Bingo. Kakashi pointed the soggy bread at Naruto. We'll check it out in the morning, dark is here and we have a job to do. The women and men were putting all the utensils away with a grim air now. Some of them pulled out hoes, spades and axes, some drew the children to the center of the hall and sat in a circle around them facing the children who were still scribbling away. Here. The girl called out waving a piece of paper, we did it. Naruto retrieved it, handed it to Sasuke and went off to implement his traps. Sasuke spread it out over a table. Kakashi put his empty bowl down, when had that happened? Good going you two. A map will be helpful. Sakura pointed out the river. It's more up ground than the rest of the village. It winds around and continues to Tanzaki-gai. It's huge. Kakashi nodded but traced an area out, the villagers have already combed this area in here. So that leaves this area. The other areas are too dense for anything of the size I'm thinking. How big, sensei? Sasuke asked, rubbing his eyes. About the size of 5 Hokage buildings, he'd say. The poor girl's blonde hair couldn't even be seen anymore and it's the same for all the others, so around 5 or 6. Shinobi. Hilgride ran up to them, bow slung over her shoulder. The salt line's been broken. She looked distraught, we have a saboteur. She hissed. It could be inside at this very minute, be on your guard. Naruto came running back at that point. All done. Just tell your men and women not to try and come inside. Sakura's seals can be activated now. He nodded at Sakura. Hi. Fuin. Sakura slapped a line of ink leading to her seals. It lit up to the color of lava, then faded away slowly. It worked. She bounced around like an eager child. Kakashi stopped her by placing a hand on her head. Ma, calm down. Be on your guard, nothing can be taken for granted. Do not take your eyes off the kids. Sasuke, Naruto watch duty. I'll try and sense. He sat down in the lotus position and became instantly still. Well, he doesn't waste any time, does he? Hilgride remarked, off you go you lot. What is he doing? Sakura asked blankly. Sasuke shrugged and wandered over to a window facing the forest in the direction Sensei had said the animal could have its lair. Naruto turned to Hilgride, did you do this for the other children? The last few, yes lad. Can you tell me what happened? He followed her as she leant against a pillar in full view of the silent kids. She sighed. I told you most of it already. Silence. Cracking noise, like a big egg actually, and then the air cracks, you know. It bends and shifts, it's kind of terrifying, and it grabs a child and the child disappears. The cracks go away after that. The air cracks. Naruto stared at her. She looked a little sheepish, I can't find a better word for it. You know, like glass, that's it, cracks run through it like glass. What made you think Shinobi could help? Naruto asked, still in a high voice. You guys can walk on damn water, breathe fire dragons, what made you think we wouldn't? Good point. Naruto turned away thinking. Air cracking. He had never heard of such a jutsu. Kurama. Heard of a jutsu or animal which can crack air? No. Interesting case, Thame by spirits. She didn't mention a temperature drop. This is an extremely weird case, kid. Tell me about it. So made up your mind on whether we're going to be friends? No. Go away. Naruto sighed. He rubbed his eyes, guess even backwater villages had grit. I swear this grit wasn't here before. He murmured. Hilgride tensed then barked, everybody ready. That's the first sign, kid, grit in your eye. It's coming. She drew and strung her bow. Naruto pulled out 2 kunai anticipating the battle. The room tensed suddenly, waiting with steel drawn. Tension filled the air along with the frightened breathing of the children. Which direction? Left. Right. Front. Back. People shifted on the balls of their feet. Kakashi's eye flew open suddenly, huge chakra from the left. He barked. Everyone turned to face the left just as an ominous thunderous cracking filled the room like numerous bones being broken. Kakashi leapt to his feet, eyes scanning the air. In his movement he did several single-handed seals and a whip of searing fire lashed around his right hand. It sizzled and hissed angrily, but he stayed unaffected by his own jutsu. It was a good idea, use fire to counter air. Give me a wide berth. He snapped as he flicked the whip to the direction he felt the chakra. It was a very strange chakra, it seemed almost to meld into nature, making estimating the size of it very difficult. The whip screamed through the air, and many people ducked swearing as it smashed against a solid panel of air with a thunderous crack. The monstrous crack appeared, distorting the image of the room as Paranel hurriedly gathered the terrified children to the other side. "What is that?" Sakura yelled as grit obscured everyone's vision. A screeching snarling could be heard as the very air seemed to shift towards Kakashi at lightning speed. He ducked quickly, just in time as the table behind him got smashed and sliced into splintered chunks. He flicked his whip again, and this time it wrapped around the top of the air and went under. Smoke and a searing stench filled the room as the air lashed away, tearing the whip out of his hands and nearly burning the villagers as it went skidding against the other wall. "Sensei. The traps haven't gone off." Naruto yelled over the cracking. "The main part of it is outside our range." Sasuke leapt over a table to grab Hilgride. "Where do you keep your ingredients?" he demanded. "Behind the double doors at the back." She grunted before using her bow like a melee weapon and diverting the creature from hitting another villager. He ran for it over the barricaded tables and got to the doors just to duck Kakashi's flaming whip. "Sensei." he yelled before spin-kicking the lock. It held. Again. It held. Again. Finally it splintered and he used a kunai to pry it open and hurl the metal to one of the kids to use as protection. He ran inside feeling the cooler air. Damn, it was dark in here. The torches would set off the flour. He haphazardly pulled open a random sack. Grains. Sugar. Salt. Where was it? Finally he felt fine grainy texture beneath his fingers. Flour. He heaved the sack towards the doors and stopped. Could the flour set off an explosion with the torches? He'd have to be careful in where he threw it. Sakura meanwhile had the same idea as Sasuke and was hurling her pots of ink at the cracks in the air. It splattered and dripped down the air and collected in the cracks. At last they had an outline to fight. Even though it wouldn't last long. Naruto grabbed a fallen hoe and swung it with all his strength. It crashed into a panel of air sneaking up on Sakura and it splintered. Hearts rained down on him and he gazed at it in confusion. He held up a bloody piece. "It's glass." He hollered, "It's glass. Kurama. A being made of glass. They aren't all dead yet." "Huh. What are they? How do we fight one?" "You heard of them?" "Well duh. They're sand spirits. You didn't think Shukaku was the only one, did you?" "You call this sand?" Naruto screamed mentally, "There are more sand spirits." Kurama yawned in his head, "Well, yeeth, idiots who seal Shukaku are really kind of idiots. Sometimes they let part of him escape and lacking his mind they splinter off into sand spirits. It's hilarious watching the old tanuki trying to chase them down." "That's all well and good, Kurama, but this is glass and it doesn't feel like his chakra. What the hell do you think sand and fire makes?" But that Naruto came back to his own mind to duck another claw. It carved chunks from the pole and what they had thought to be artistic decoration turned out to be sand spirit mauling. Kakashi heard Naruto yell and acted quickly. Glass was sand was eared, hand lightning was strong against earth. He made some hand seals he copied off some kumonin. Lightning release. God's fear. Crackling lines of brilliant cold lightning flashed in the amber torchlight above them. A dome of white crackling energy surrounded them and the light illuminated everything in a strange unearthly light. Kakashi sighed and clutched a table. That was a draining technique, but it did its job. The claw covered in ink, flour and cracks tried to breach the barrier, but parts of it kept being sliced off and careening down on the villagers before shattering everywhere. Sand blurred above and stung their eyes, but the barrier held and with a final resentful screech, the claw withdrew and there was a sense of the darkness shifting outside as the beast moved away. Kakashi waited a moment for affirmation to come from outside before dropping the technique. He breathed heavily through his mask, not as draining as his Sharingan, so it was manageable. He turned to see the wreckage. The children cowered behind an upturned table with Paranel standing defensively in front with a club. The armed villagers all had numerous cuts, scrapes and blood was everywhere but nothing too serious, he didn't think. Sasuke was caked in flour as was the area around him, Sakura was splattered with ink and Naruto was covered in glass shards. Okay, he could work with this. Confronting and driving off an unknown beast whose abilities were mysterious. This was quite possibly a high B rank or low A rank. "Mission report," he said hoarsely. Sasuke see to the injuries. "I don't have that many bandages." "It's alright lad, take care of your own. We'll be fine until morning." Paranel commented wincing. "You lot are the main defense." Sasuke nodded and moved to clean Naruto of the glass. However, a random village man came up to them. "Thank you," he said warmly, "you stopped another child from being taken." He shook all their hands quickly and sent them all grateful looks. The crowd of grateful villagers formed around them, all of them reaching out to touch the shinobi, crying about how their children had been saved for another night. Hilgride shot them a look full of relief and all the lines melted away as she held a young boy close and rocked him. Similar acts played out across the hall and Naruto felt an unusual lump in his throat as he watched the emotional sight. He smiled wistfully, happy to be witness to some happiness in the village, especially as everyone had been so grimly weary when they had come. Sakura report. Kakashi repeated finally, having got rid of the crowd. Sakura started from watching the villagers and began to talk. It seems to be about the size you described to be able to send an army outside our range. She said thoughtfully, well it appears to be cracking the air, that is just glass cracking as it bends and rubs against each other. Furthermore it has some unknown abilities with sand. Lightning worked well against it, so we need you in top condition. Kakashi chuckled wryly. Naruto spoke shyly, it's a sand spirit. Everyone stared at him. Though even you can tell the difference between sand and glass. Sasuke spoke cuttingly. Naruto rolled his eyes, I know that. He snapped, I think it's rubbing the sand against each other to generate enough friction to make glass. Kakashi paused, that's an interesting theory Naruto, but the only sand spirit is the Ichibi, and what's a sand spirit doing all the way in a forest? What's the Ichibi? Sakura asked curiously. One-tailed tanuki. Naruto answered, one of the tailed beasts. Like the Kyuubi? Yeah. It rankled Naruto to call the beasts by their human given name, and he apologized silently to Kurama who huffed it away. Well there was sand there and there's no other animal it could be. Kakashi med, we'll go scouting for it in the morning. I don't think it's coming back so it's perfect time for a bit of training. His genin all shuffled away warily. He smiled innocently under his mask. It would give him time to think while they nearly broke their necks. What kind of training? Sasuke asked warily. He waved a hand, nothing too strenuous. All of you have just been in combat. We're going to climb walls. Well you are. I'm guessing this is different from the academy's version then. Sakura sighed. Since when we damaged the wood? Naruto asked quizzically. He remembered his first attempts and winced. He didn't think the trees would ever recover. Kakashi rubbed his chin, very good point. We can't be rude to our host's new plan is that a tub of dirty water from the dishes. He asked over his shoulder pointing to a large tub. Yeah. Hilgride answered bemused. Want the tub drained? Oh no, it's perfect the way it is. He turned to his students. Naruto had a look of horror and resignment on his face. Oh so he had heard of water walking too. Since you're all clever little genin I decided to bump the difficulty up a bit. He thought he heard a tiny groan but plowed straight on, you're all going to defy physics and walk on water. Won't that be fun? How do we walk on water? Sasuke asked blankly. Chakra of course. No offense Kaka-sensei, but you're an awful teacher. Naruto said lightly. Kakashi rolled his eye, if you want a more detailed explanation just ask. You expel chakra from the bottom of your foot to match your weight on the water that's it. That was detailed. Sakura asked incredulously. That was all I needed. Kakashi shrugged, well go on, you won't learn standing around gaping. Shoo shoo. The strange man waved them towards the tub of filthy water. Kakashi watched them clambering over the side gingerly and placing a foot on the surface. Splash. Well the other jonin hadn't lied about this being entertaining. Splash. Very entertaining in fact. Splash. He could stand there all day and watch his sopping, filthy and annoyed genin try and get the hang of it. He frowned under his mask. He liked his genin. They were loud and easy to annoy, but gods they were so strange at times. And Naruto was the strangest of them all. He knew things he couldn't have known, but he was still Naruto. Kakashi was sure of it. It was baffling. Naruto had heard of both water and tree walking, had known how to set off explosions without Kakashi instructing him properly. To test his student he hadn't given Naruto all the instructions and to his surprise the missing steps had been done instinctually. And he kept looking at his teammates with such a strange expression, a mix of wistfulness, anger, relief and happiness. It was similar to a comrade back in his Anbu days who had thought he'd lost his entire platoon but had seen them alive after them being missing for a week. Kakashi had even caught Naruto looking at him like that. He was at an impasse. He couldn't find out more without asking Naruto. Speaking of which, where had he got the idea for a sand spirit anyway? It certainly wasn't the first conclusion someone would draw. On the other hand he did not think his plan to curb Sasuke's obsession with revenge was working. Sure he had lightly commented to Sasuke the use of medical techniques against stronger opponents and yes Sasuke had taken to studying the books with a passion that seemed only to make his desire for vengeance greater. If Sasuke was like the typical Uchiha then telling him not to do something would be counterproductive. On the extreme way to solve things was to get him addicted on drugs which could be made only in Konoha but he wasn't that desperate yet he decided. Sasuke shivered which had nothing to do with the cold water. Sakura he was pleased to note was getting better quicker than he expected. Yes her physical conditioning was still terrible but her outlook had improved. He had no idea what Anko had said to her and frankly he didn't ever want to find out going by the calculating look she shot Sasuke behind his back. And her ceiling was improving, granted she was just following memorized formulae, but he liked to look on the bright side every once in a while. Splash. Kakashi thought about his genin and their strange quirks for several hours. Time passed too slowly for the bedraggled genin. None of them had made any progress whatsoever. Naruto instead had invented the water jet propeller which he used to bounce around before Kakashi threw an exploding kunai at him. "Concentrate, Naruto," Kakashi had chided. He looked out of the window where utter blackness could be seen. They had earned a break, he decided. "Right, all of you stop. Take a 6-hour nap and we'll go searching for the beast." He surveyed his students critically. "You might want to change out of those wet clothes first, really, you guys, you should be more careful." Naruto opened and closed his mouth trying to voice his indignation, but he was too tired to argue. Sasuke shambled off to find a private spot to change and curl up while Sakura just pitched forward, already out. He caught her from hitting the floor and lowered her gently to the floor. He needed to rest too, but he didn't think his genin could hold watches at the minute. Luckily Jonin didn't sleep, more like dozed with hyper-awareness of their surroundings. He'd be fine. He leant against a pillar and fell into a light doze instantly. Ah, the perks of sleeping vertical. Naruto dreamed in that 6 hours. He had been expecting it, to be honest. He had just been through a war, and while he could act happy, he was still hurting inside from being dumped in a world he had outgrown. He tossed and turned, rolling up into a ball as flashbacks of the war zipped through his mind, with his imagination making it worse than it was. "Hey, cut it out. Can't you stop it, Kyuubi?" "I can." "Then help him for Kami's sake. I don't like them any more than you. I live for war, brat. There is no greater thrill than facing your foes on the battlefield, knowing only one of you will walk away." "That sounds really sad." "HMMF, it's my nature." "Can you change your nature easily, brat?" "Apparently not. See your point. But still help him, please." "Your heart crying out again? You bleeding soft-hearted fool. Don't you get it? I love him like a brother. All the pain he feels I feel." Cuckoo, you little liar." "Very well, I'll help him. Are you getting soft in your old age, huh, Kyuubi?" Naruto stilled. The cold sweat chilled him in the night breeze. He was awake in an instant, snapping to attention. "What was that?" "I swear that was ninjutsu." "Go back to sleep, Naruto." Kakashi's voice drawled. "You have 2 hours left to get your rest." He turned his head. His silver-haired sensei was leaning against a pillar, his hair gleaming bright in the dark. "Sensei, what was that?" he asked. So you did feel that?" It was phrased like a statement. The darkness shifted as Kakashi uncurled himself. Naruto pushed himself to his feet and padded over to his sensei. "Look out of the window," came the quiet reply. "There's a disturbance in the forest, there's no doubt it's our mysterious assailant." "Senjutsu?" Naruto whispered to himself. Kakashi raised an eyebrow overhearing his blonde student's comment. "Well, I would love to know how you even heard about Senjutsu." "You are correct. It's a mix of Biju energy and Senjutsu." "Biju, but the Ichibi is in Suna, there's no way it can be here." "Exactly. I didn't mention it before, but it's unmistakable. It doesn't have the raw impact of the Biju, true, but the underlying taint is the same. You wouldn't be able to pick it up, your senses are too dull." "What does the Ichibi stand for?" Naruto whispered, suddenly feeling very cold. Kakashi looked down at him. "Hatred. Mind explaining how you know about Senjutsu?" Naruto felt his sweat drip down his back. I read about it." "If you are going to lie, do it well," Kakashi chided. "Naruto, you cannot read about Senjutsu and then immediately identify it in a combat situation." Well, Naruto tried to think of an excuse, but before he could think very much, a vice-like grip wrapped around his shoulder and they were flying. They slammed to a stop outside in a cloud of smoke and Kakashi released him. "Sensei?" Naruto staggered back before falling into a defensive position. "Did you learn something after all?" Kakashi's soft voice drifted to him in the moonlit street. "Walk with me, Naruto. Prove to me you are Kakashi-sensei." Naruto demanded. If Kakashi had been replicit, they were all in danger. "Well, that is a good line of thinking in theory." Kakashi spoke slowly, "But you really have no way of confirming anything I say. If I was an enemy agent, I could have tortured information out of me. Better to ask a question you know the answer to. So try again." Naruto nodded. "Hi." Then he was stumped. At this point in time, he knew almost nothing about his sensei that he could say without raising alarms. "Show me your Sharingan." Kakashi pushed up his headband to show the blood-red eye. Satisfied. "Lift up your shirt and channel some chakra." Naruto did so and his sensei hummed. "Walk with me." "What did you want to talk about, sensei?" Naruto jogged to catch up to Kakashi. The man looked utterly serious under the moonlight, there was no lazy twist to his mask or any boredom in his eye now. "Secrecy is a vital of the shinobi." He started, "It is the very trademark of being a ninja. So can you tell me why some of the most successful shinobi are widely known and feared across the continents? Why we use flashy jutsus to fight? Why we openly advertise ourselves as a ninja village?" Naruto frowned. "Isn't the last one something to do with money and more requests?" "That does play a part." Kakashi agreed, "But if we really wanted to, we could set up an outpost to collect requests and send them to the hidden main village." Naruto was stumped. "I don't know, sensei. It's due to the very nature of secrecy. Imagine we worked in secret, assassinating, protecting, stealing how long before there are mass riots and panicking about us? Secrets have a way of making people powerful, but that power is only strong if others are more scared of you than they are of the secrets. The moment they fear the secret more than you, they hunt you down to destroy it. Kakashi murmured. So if secrets are gone, what do we do? Don't get me wrong, there are still lots of secrets in a ninja life, but nothing like what there should be. You put on a show of power. Naruto guessed. Kakashi nodded, it's a strange way to keep your secrets. You reveal some to conceal others. You show the enemy you can fry them at close range, then cut their throat at long range with a wind jutsu. He shrugged. They never know what hit them. So Naruto, I am telling you this because. Naruto stared back. You think my secret is scary? Kakashi stared back evenly. You know things you shouldn't. Know this, the only reason I don't think you're an incompetent enemy nin is because of the seal on your stomach. I am not an enemy nin. Naruto cried out angrily. You aren't making it easy to disprove your claim. Kakashi hissed. How did you know I was to be your sensei? You knew my test. Your personality has changed. You look at us like we died and you don't expect to see us alive. Naruto flinched back. He couldn't help it. Team 7 dying. He didn't want to contemplate it. Part of him would break inside, he had another chance to see them all die would be. Kakashi went very still. He had hit the mark. Keeping secrets are more likely to get us killed than anything else. He probed, whatever it is, you can tell me. I can help even though I don't look it, I do have a lot of experience. Naruto was silent. Is the Kyuubi showing you images of us dead? Kakashi asked gently, is that why you won't tell us? The urge to tell him was welling up in Naruto's chest. The idea of sharing his burden, to relieve him of some tension filled him with relief and a strange emotion he couldn't quite place. Kakashi could help him, he thought desperately. He licked his lips. His name-sensei is Kurama. Kakashi frowned, momentarily caught off balance. What? The Kyuubi, his name is Kurama. Calling him Kyuubi is like calling you human all the time. He blurted. And he has nothing to do with it. Kakashi blinked. I'm thinking of the best way to tell you. Naruto confessed. Kakashi sat down on a boulder and linked his fingers together. Okay then. He spread his hands. Hit me. What do you think of time travel? Naruto asked finally bluntly. It's useful. What? You believe time travel is possible? My sensei was the fourth Hokage. Kakashi said amused, he time traveled on a daily basis. Naruto's head shot up, what? Hiraishin time travels. Well, it is a space-time jutsu. Naruto grinned, sensei, let me introduce myself again. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, Jinchuriki of Kurama and combatant of the 4th Ninja World War. I like protecting my precious people and dislike a few certain enemy nin. But I still like ramen. Naruto added. My dream hasn't changed. He bowed deeply to a frozen Kakashi. 4th Ninja World War? Kakashi said calmly, if a little high-pitched. Naruto dropped his smile, it's a long story. Wait. Prove to me you are from the future. You have Obito's eye, Rin was a Jinchuriki, Yondaime was my dad, Itachi was under orders. That's enough. Kakashi held up a hand, the village doesn't need more secret spill. Wait, what? What was the last one? Naruto flashed him a guilty look, oh, you didn't know. Kakashi shook his head. Naruto was a time traveler. It was an outlandish claim, yet it made so much sense. Everything he knew, everything he shouldn't have known, and the mockery of the stances his mind was filled with incredulity and the satisfaction of a puzzle solved. He looked over Naruto critically. So I should be holding you to a much higher standard. Naruto paled. Can you tell me basic outlines of what happens? Kakashi queried. Including the Itachi one? Naruto yawned, can I tell you after the mission? We're going to need quite some time. Oh, by the way, it's a section of the Ichibi which got cut off. Kei-chan told me so. Rat. I see. Kakashi allowed, I'll need to refine our strategy. Go back to sleep, Naruto, we'll talk later. Naruto nodded, was it because you were suspicious that you thrashed me in your test? Kakashi looked a little sheepish, yes, just checking you weren't the enemy. I'm not usually like that. Don't paranoia. Naruto said half sourly and half fondly. Kakashi chuckled. Kakashi waited until Naruto's chakra evened out in sleep before punching a tree and leaving a deep impression behind. Time travel. Hiraishin allowed the user to time travel by linking together points on the space-time matrix with use of specific seals. Never like this. What Naruto said should have been impossible. But what he said made so much sense. He didn't think it was elite, was too outlandish, and Naruto had known about things he had no way of knowing about. Just to check if Naruto was influenced by the Kyuubi or not, he had checked with his Sharingan, but diagnosis was difficult without a Byakugan. The Sharingan could only see so much. He felt small, insignificant in the dark. Time travel made mistakes redundant. Oh, I made a mistake, let's go back in time and do it again. He clenched his fist. No. Mistakes needed to stay mistakes, or the person would never learn anything. Question was, did Naruto remember what he learned? He seemed too immature for a war veteran at times. Then another chilling thought hit him. If Naruto had come back, who else had? Leaves crunched underfoot as the village head paced outside the hall. Kakashi slunk out of the shadows behind her. I refuse to believe the monster came out of nowhere. He said quietly. I will not believe that you only found out about it when it started killing children. Paranel glared at him. Believe what you like, Master Shinobi. You really think I would lie about not finding or noticing a beast like that? That's absurd, no one could miss it. It suddenly appeared one night and wouldn't leave us alone. Paranel and Hilgride aren't elemental country names. Kakashi lounged against the wall. Where are you from? Paranel stared at him. If you must know, I have roots in the eastern nomads. Hilgride comes from the northern border folk. They were both secretive folk, not many shinobi even realized they existed. Liar. Paranel arched an eyebrow. How did you know? I didn't. I just know you are hiding something, sooner or later I would strike lucky. HMMF. Mistress Villager, the information you're not telling us could be vital. If any of my team dies during this and you withheld crucial information, Konoha will rip apart this cesspit. Kakashi warned. She snarled, you shinobi are all the same. So willing to let innocent lives be killed. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. She huffed. Fine, around 12 years ago we had a visitor. A wandering monk from Suna. He came with prayers and blessings and asked for permission to stay. I granted it. She shrugged, he seemed good-natured enough. Her face darkened. He didn't sleep. That was our first clue something was wrong. A few weeks after he moved in, his friends found him. Tracked him to our doorstep. Truth is, no town near Tanzaki should be this bad off. We were a nice town. Pretty. Quiet. Until they came. Boo. Sunanin. She spat the word. They burned down the village and dragged out that monk. Know what they told him? It seems you have not learned your lesson, we'll just need to drive the lesson in deeper this time, won't we? My village became a lesson. Her voice rose to a shriek. Then what? Kakashi inquired. The monk was no monk, had the devil inside him. She made the evil warding sign, bloodlust and hadith, it's all anyone remembers from what followed. Overwhelming fear, and when we woke up our village was a pit in the ground. The bitter hate laced in her tone surprised Kakashi. She really hid her emotions well. She sighed, the monk was dead. The demon had left him a dried out husk, but when we asked where it had gone the nin just laughed and kicked the body. They sealed it back into the body. Kakashi said with dawning enlightenment, but sealing with corpses is a temporary difficult mesurithits when part of it escaped. She nodded, it was just sand back then, it fled into the forest and we didn't see even a grain of sand for the next 12 years. Did you have problems with forest fires by any chance? Kakashi asked. Yeah. How did you know? He waved it off. Then what? The nin demanded to use our remaining hawks. They were talking about telling someone to induce a birth. They left quite quickly after that and they took the body with them. There you go, Master Shinobi, it's the full story. Did that help? Quite a bit actually. Kakashi murmured. I wouldn't advise on holding information back in the future though. She rolled her eyes and stomped away. Kakashi was lost in thought. This meant that the Kyuubi had been telling the truth. No, how much truth did it mix in with its lies? He really needed to talk with Naruto after the mission. 3 sleepy genin met up with an amused, inwardly worried Jonin, especially when they poked him to check if they were hallucinating or still dreaming. Now that you're all up, we can go hunting for the sand spirit. Piped up Naruto, yawning. Since we have no better Idasak, let's call it a sand spirit. Kakashi continued laying out the plan. Half listening, Naruto turned to talk to Kurama. Does this mean there are parts of you wandering around? No, your grandmother and father were too good of a seal master to make that mistake. The compliment was grudgingly given. Heard of the Kraken off the coast of Mist? That's a segment of Gyuki. Naruto stopped, faced with an awful thought. Wait, is Tora a segment of Matatabi? That would make a lot of sense. There was a curious feeling in his gut, like Kurama had shrugged. Set the cat on fire and find out Matatabi cannot be harmed by fire and is attracted to greed. There was a malicious humor in the fox's voice now. I'd rather not get reprimanded for animal cruelty, thank you. Naruto commented dryly. Do it? Naruto shook his head. Apparently he still had issues with that cat. He started to tap out a Konoha code to Kakashi. Are you really going to make a team of genin hunt down a segment of a Biju? Kakashi whipped out his book and led Team 7 into the forest. His finger tapped twice on the cover. Of course not. Naruto pretended to brush his hair out of his face and tapped quickly. Then why are we here? Why aren't we declaring this too high a level for us? Kakashi drummed on his book. Rule of thumb, Naruto, Baijas are too high a level for nearly anyone. We can't help. Naruto was stunned. Okay, Baijas were a little difficult to handle, but that didn't mean they left the village defenseless. All the children would die at that rate, the village wouldn't be able to sustain themselves. All those grateful faces, what would they turn into when they realized they had been abandoned? He couldn't stand for this. It went against his way of the ninja. Sensei. We can't. He cried out. His team stopped, looking oddly at him as it seemed like he had just cried out in response to silence. Kakashi sighed. Of course Naruto wouldn't pick up practicality in a ninja war. What had he been thinking? I'll explain later, Naruto. He said shortly, we have to keep moving. We need the light. Sakura shrugged at Naruto, we don't want to face that thing in the dark again. He's not planning to face it again. Naruto roared, he's planning on leaving the village behind. And trick us by taking a winding road through the forest until Konoha. Sakura and Sasuke stared at Kakashi in disbelief until the latter sighed and confirmed Naruto was correct. Sasuke quipped to look at Naruto then back at Kakashi scrutinizing him. We can handle it. He said waspishly. Let's continue with the mission. Sakura gasped, the villagers. All the children will die. We have to help sensei. Kakashi snapped his book shut. No. It was the tone of steel which surprised everyone. How can you? Naruto nearly screamed. You're just going to leave them to die. He pulled at his hair. They trusted us to protect them. There is no protection against that. Kakashi snapped. Against a Biju there is no defense they cannot corrupt nor any attack which will affect them greatly. The only way to deal with them is to seal them, and we do not have any seal masters amongst us, and I mean Master Sakura. Practitioners who can carve seals with a single tap or seal the likes of a god, that is what I mean by a master. We go up against a Biju and we die. We die and the village dies. This way we survive. You are more important than some backwater village from nowhere. That's a Biju, Sasuke cried, but the Ichibi is in Suna's control, and that's the only sand one. Apparently not. Kakashi shrugged. So we're running. Sakura asked incredulously, there has to be something we can do. We managed well last night. I heard Baijas have an overpowering presence and we didn't feel that last night. She's right. Naruto agreed, he tapped out. If we capture the Biju that's another Biju for Konoha, right? Kakashi didn't even answer. The only reason we didn't feel it is because it has a blend of Biju energy and natural energy. He snapped, we won't be able to feel it coming, know where it is since it's almost invisible, and if it stays still we won't be able to detect it at all. Make no mistake, it is a Biju. The Ichibi is a mass of hatred and festering resentment, shinobi better than you have been slaughtered against Biju. What makes you even think I would take a team of rookie genin against one? Slowly he had been releasing his killing intent, giving his words weight. Are all of you really arrogant enough to think you can win against a Biju? My sensei, the fourth Hokage, drew with a Biju and you three think you can win? Incredulity and mockery laced his tone. The three of them flinched back. That village is doomed. Either by Biju or by having all their children killed. It is classed as a natural disaster. Do not think you can challenge a superior officer's commands in the field in a highly dangerous situation. Kakashi hissed, his eye blazing out at his cowed genin. I am ashamed and disgusted at your conduct. Yelling at your field commander is inexcusable, and we will be having words as soon as we get back. Is that clear, genin? Hi sensei. All of them whispered, thoroughly cowed. Kakashi hadn't released his killing intent for a while against them, and they had slightly forgotten the fact he was a very dangerous man. Good. Kakashi's eye wandered over his group. There was the distant sound of thunder. All of them froze. It was a clear day. Sensei, which direction are we heading? Sakura asked very calmly. Away from the place where we thought the lair was. Kakashi replied. It's up front. Sasuke whispered as thunder pealed in the distance again. After the village again. I think it's more us. Naruto spoke calmly. Being hunted by Bijithus was his area of expertise. Being hunted by wild Bijinit so much. He ignored the sweat sliding down his back at the thought of fighting an untamed, unrestricted Biju. He didn't have the toad summoning contract either. We need to get out of here. Agreed. Kakashi whispered before shoving them forward roughly. Away from the village. Go right, there's hillier outcrop. We can hide and evade easier. All of them ran for their lives. In the trees they had a massive disadvantage. The Biju could strike from any direction and they didn't know the full range. They had just fought an arm which couldn't see last night, this was the full beast with all functions operational. Trees cracked behind them as the thunderous snapping followed them. They could feel the vibrations in the ground as heavy glass dug and cut into the earth, thankfully they hadn't felt any grit yet. A screeching snarling echoed through the forest as the Biju picked up their trail and began to speed up. Kakashi swung up Sakura on his back and grabbed both his male students in both hands and shunshin very quickly, very rapidly covering a great deal of distance as the Biju slammed into where they had been previously. He thought it was smaller than what the Kyuubi had been, but the fact they couldn't see it made it just as dangerous when confronting it. If they had looked back they would have seen the blue sky crack and distort through numerous planes of glass. Why was it chasing after them? It's hatred. Naruto screamed during one of their shunshins. It's narrowing down on that. Of course. Kakashi had a vicious well of self-hatred inside him for failing everyone he ever cared about. Rin, Abito, father, Sensa shoved away all distracting thoughts and thought objectively. Sasuke too hated his brother with a burning passion for the massacre. He assumed Naruto too had a well of hate deep inside him. No one went through a war without clinging on to hate. Ironically, the most useless member of their team was the one not contributing to their worsening situation. The thunder grew deafening as a paw slammed into the earth beside them and would have sent them collapsing if Kakashi hadn't leapt, spun and kicked off it to abruptly change direction. Sakura screamed as she saw how close they were to it. Sasuke kicked her to shut up. Naruto yelled out a warning, and Kakashi went into the trees, neatly avoiding a sweep of the tail, which felled an arc of trees in a roll of wood chips and glass. It was chilling. They could hear it, see it, but they couldn't feel its chakra at all. It was like a huge empty space chasing them. They came out of the forest as Kakashi leapt high and landed on an outcrop elegantly. Then the genin got an idea of their teacher's speed and agility as he evaded every one of the Biju's furious blows. They hadn't even seen this level of speed before. But the beast was just as fast and 1,000 times more powerful. Several times Kakashi just escaped being hit by inches. Kakashi dropped his genin hurriedly during a brief interval when the Biju smashed its jaw into a rock so hard it half shattered and told them to run while he held it off. "Are you crazy? That's suicide," Naruto yelled. "I'm your teacher." Kakashi snarled back, "What kind of teacher would I be if I let you all be killed? It'd just hone in on us after you." Sasuke grunted, "We have hatred too. Let us help." Sakura nodded, "I don't know how much help we'll be, but we're not leaving you behind. Lower than trash, remember? I cannot fight and protect you at the same time." Kakashi stressed. "You don't have to." Naruto said slowly, "A plan forming, sensei, you're the only one who can distract it. Can you hold for a bit? I have a plan." Kakashi snarled in genuine anger, "This is what I've been reduced to. Risking genin in battles. Fine. Do your plan. We don't have a choice." What if Naruto has ninjutsu, taijutsu and genjutsu? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.